agreements over spending going forward, and that was something that the president had to give in on. The fact is, at the end of the day, both sides say they didn't get everything they wanted, but they did get it done.
Meanwhile, an effort is underway to make sure Wisconsin gets the COVID-19 relief funding it was designated.
The ceiling agreement rescinds any unspent pandemic funding previously allocated to states. Therefore, Congressman Mark Pocan tells the Journal Sentinel that he's been contacting federal agencies to make sure Wisconsin gets every dollar it was expecting. Pocan says he's been literally going line by line to identify possible funding, but the paper says just how much money is actually at risk is not clear. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Former Vice President Mike Pence won't be charged criminally for having classified documents at his Indiana home. He plans to launch his campaign for the Republican presidential nomination for president in just a few days. Davenport, Iowa officials have announced that a search for survivors of that partially collapsed apartment building is now complete.
That search was completed before sundown last night. That has allowed us to move to the next phase of our mission, securing the building for control and recovery.
Chief Rick Halloran of the Iowa Task Force 1 would not answer if any human remains were found in the search. Of the 53 tenants, 5 residents unaccounted for. One woman had to have her leg amputated to be freed. What are the realistic negative consequences that artificial intelligence could have?
Dr. Michael Zimmer, vice chair of Marquette University's Computer Science Department, explains that AI is machine learning, but instead of just feeding the technology the rules of a chess game.
Now we've been able to give it a whole bunch of successful chess games and just have the computer figure out how to play on its own.
Some concerns include automation of jobs and accuracy.
AI looks really powerful, but actually has some flaws and limitations, and making sure that we're able to recognize that so we don't trust the system in a way that could cause a problem.
Jessica Gatzo, WTMJ News.
A festival to celebrate a South Milwaukee legend returns this weekend. Crusher Fest, a festival designed to honor the late Reginald the Crusher Lasowski, makes its return for the first time since the pandemic. Crusher Fest chairperson Peggy Clark.
The Crusher was attainable. You know, nowadays the wrestlers, they're not attainable. The Crusher lived and breathed in his community, his family roots, his loyalty. It was always about his family, whether it be his family or his wrestling family. He was a family guy. He was about being real.
The event runs Saturday and Sunday. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:03.
This report is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
So when you're in a pain spiral, will stem cells or bone marrow, harvested from your body and then placed back into your body, get you out of it? For those willing to go through a very expensive and not exactly easy process, which is not FDA approved, it might. But for those not willing to pay exorbitant amounts to go through all that, especially knowing that pain relief is not a sure thing, it's not an option. At Rejuvenix, we inject powerful, FDA-approved treatments that reduce inflammation and pain, while improving mobility in hips, shoulders, elbows, and knees. With some patients experiencing relief for greater than 2 years before repeating the process. I'm Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenix Arthritis Pain Clinics, and we are in network with most major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid. We can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life. It's pain relief, really.
Rejuvenix. Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenix.com to request your appointment.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Are you ready to amp up your life and rock a new career? Potawatomi Casino Hotel is holding a hiring jam session for the new Rock and Brews restaurant. Come meet your future team members in the Tailgate House at American Family Field on June 12th, 14th, and 15th. Here's the hook. There are on-the-spot job offers.
Excellent!
Choose from a variety of restaurant positions. It's time to rock and roll and build your new future. Apply today at careers.paysbig.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
After dropping 2 of 3 against the Blue Jays in Toronto, the Brewers' 7-game road trip continues tonight in Cincinnati with Game 1 of a 4-game series. Coverage gets underway at 3:35 on WTMJ. Early start is due to the Zac Brown Band concert following tonight's game. Milwaukee begins today 1/2 game ahead of the Pittsburgh Pirates for first place in the NL Central. Packers offensive lineman David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins among the veterans at Block 2 of organized team activities for the Packers. That wraps up today. Block 3 begins June 5th. And the Miami Heat could have Whitnall High School product Tyler Hero available for Game 2 of the NBA Finals against the Denver Nuggets. Hero suffered a hand injury during Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Bucks. The Nuggets own a 1-0 series lead. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Take a look at your roads now with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. We have a couple of little problems out there right now causing some delays. I-94 westbound from the Zoo to Highway 16. It's usually about an 11-minute drive. It's going to take you a little bit longer, maybe up to 15. And I-43 northbound from downtown to Brown Deer Road running about 13 minutes. That's usually about a 10-minute drive. We'll keep you updated on these traffic problems.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
Be our eyes on the roads. Report accidents, slowdowns, and road conditions to the WTMJ Hall Mazda traffic tip line at 414-238-9329.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, mostly sunny to partly cloudy, well inland, where we'll find a pop-up shower or thunderstorm this afternoon and early evening. Otherwise, a very warm day with high temperatures in the 80s, near 90 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the 60s. Saturday, a mix of sun and clouds, around 80 by the lakeshore, mid-80s inland. Sunday, slight chance for a shower or a storm, but I wouldn't count on it. Otherwise, partly cloudy, highs near the lake in the mid-70s, mid-80s inland. Monday, a front will come through, a little better chance for a few showers or storms, but doesn't look like a widespread soaking rain like we could use. 75 for a high temperature on Monday. Tuesday, cooler behind that front, partly cloudy, breezy with a high of 70. I'm meteorologist Kristen Kershane with the Storm Team forecast on WTMJ.
And we're seeing that warm up inland right now. 83 in Madison, Green Bay, 80 degrees, Milwaukee still 75. I'm Connie Weber, Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 12:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Come join the conversation on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the show. So glad to have you with us, no matter how you find us, whether it's over on the air radio, whether you're listening on our stream. For the last month or so, we also are, you can watch us. You can watch us do spoken word radio. We have our very own WTMJ YouTube channel, and I know a number of you watch. You can also go to WTMJ.com. You have that Listen Live button that you can click, and a lot of people do that. You can also click the Watch Live button and watch us do the shows and see how my wife has dressed me on any given day. That's one of the things that we offer. So we're very glad to have you with us. Hey, just at the start of the show, want to just recognize something we did last night so I make sure I do not forget about it. My very dear friends who I know through my wife, Fran, Maggie and Dale, today is their 50th wedding anniversary. 50 years married to each other. And so we had a big party for them at the house last night, and it was just a wonderful time. And just 50 years, that's just something. I think it's for when you look at what happens to so many marriages over the years, and you look at whatever the divorce rate is in this country and stuff, 50 years, just an incredible accomplishment. Okay, let's get started. Our number, 855-616-1620. If you are a regular listener to this program, you know that I am not a smoker. Years and years ago, I would have an occasional cigar, and I stopped doing that a number of years ago. But I've never been a cigarette smoker, just never. And while I am not judgmental about this, I've never understood it because, ever since I was a kid, you knew it was very, very clear that smoking was bad for you and that smoking was expensive. And so I just never got started, never got into the habit. And so I've never been a smoker. I admit that I do not understand why anybody starts smoking in today's day and age because we know it's not good for you. It is expensive. And yet I'm always amazed in the middle of winter here, you'll be walking into a bar or a restaurant and you'll see a bunch of people, including lots of young people who are huddled outside in 10-degree weather having a cigarette. You want to say, knowing what you know, why did you start smoking? But again, that's an individual decision. Well, we also know that smoking isn't good for you because of a number of things that have happened. It used to be, when I was a kid, they used to have, you could advertise cigarettes on television. And that was a huge advertising source. You know, you had the Marlboro Man, and you have the commercials of some big healthy guy sitting on a horse smoking a Marlboro. You'd hear ads for Virginia Slims. I remember that. You've come a long way, baby. You know, that was one of the big taglines, you know, and women who had their now own brand of cigarettes. At least that's how they were trying to, you know, market these. It was a huge amount of revenue. And then ultimately, because cigarette smoking isn't good for you, what happened is cigarette smoking, you could no longer advertise it on television. Plus, you have the warnings. If you look at an ad, for example, for cigarettes in the print medium, it's got to have prominently displayed a warning that says the Surgeon General tells you that cigarettes are bad for you. If you buy a pack of cigarettes, there's a big warning label on the side of the pack that tells you cigarette smoking is bad for you, and sometimes it graphically goes into how bad it is. Well, if you are a smoker in Canada, the warnings are about to change. Get this, Canada is in the process of requiring health warnings, not just on a pack of cigarettes, but soon, in Canada, they will be the first country in the world to require manufacturers to print warnings directly on individual cigarettes. Beginnings absolutely and totally unavoidable. So every cigarette will, on its, on the label, it will have one of these 6 warnings. So every time you go to bring out a cigarette out of the pack of cigarettes, it is going to be inescapable. You will look at this warning that tells you that cigarette smoking is bad for you. Our number, 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. I guess I have 2 questions that are related to each other. Question number 1 is, should we do this in the United States? And I guess related question 2 is this going to make any difference? Will the fact that now, in addition to the warning label on the package, which is apparently not stopping people from either stopping to smoke or from continuing to smoke, will warnings on each individual cigarette, will that make a difference, or is this, no pun intended, overkill? 855-616-1620. We discuss in just a moment. What do you think?
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this. Had a rough week? Not to worry. Relax and join Jeff Wagner every Friday at 2:35 for Pop Culture Corner. Brought to you by Palermo's Pizza. Come tell us the best of the best in pop culture, and you could win a prize package from Palermo's.
What is the best movie sequel of all time? Your guilty pleasure on television? I've got a whole long list. Curious to hear from you.
It's Wagner's Pop Culture Corner. Fridays at 2:35 on WTMJ.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Are you looking to give your home a new look? Siding Unlimited can help with the big stuff, but there are some little things that you can do to accessorize your home until you're ready for the major improvement. Let's start with the simple. Just hanging a plant, or easier yet, setting plants in front of your home can add color and life to your home. Plants with vibrant colors and healthy growth show your home is alive and well. Replacing light fixtures will definitely give a nice change of pace and help with the night accent lighting. There are other accessories that will help give an updated look to your home, such as custom address plates or even garage door hardware that can be a simple addition that draws the eye and gives you more curb appeal. The little adjustments are nice, but you might be ready for a major improvement. There are newer styles and colors in siding products, window and doors, as well as roofing products that can make your home pop and neighbors impressed. Siding options include different looks with shake siding such as hand split, stagger edge, straight edge, perfection shingles, and natural colors that really stand out. Sometimes new windows and doors can give such an elegant look because the glass alone is so crisp and clean. Whether you try the little things or call Siding Unlimited for the bigger projects, there are different ways to give your house a new look. Sometimes it's just time for the major improvement.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for replacement windows, roofing, decks, and, of course, siding. They are the best, as acknowledged by the many rewards their suppliers have conferred upon them. Now, take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more.
You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Smoking in the boys' room. Smoking in the boys' room.
855-616-1620. Okay, here are the numbers. In the United States, they currently estimate that about 28.3 million adults currently smoke cigarettes. That is down. In 2005, it was about 21%. About 1 in 5 Americans smoked. Now, the most recent numbers I have are from 2 years ago. It's down to 11.5%. So it's essentially gone from 21 out of 100 to 12 out of 100. That's similar to what's going on in Canada. Let's see. In 2005, 2001, they estimated that there were about 22% of the population that smoked. Now it's down to 13%. So Canada has had what I would argue is roughly a proportional sort of drop. Canada has been very, very aggressive. And if you're just tuning in, starting next year, the warnings, cigarette smoking is going to kill you. It's going to cause impotence. That's one of the warnings that they put on there. It's going to be in both English and French, and it's going to be printed on every single cigarette. Is this going to make a difference? And should we look at doing something like this in the United States? One of our texters says, Jeff, this is a dumb thing. If you don't read the warning on the pack of cigarettes, you're not going to read the one on the cigarettes itself. 855-616-1620. Jeff, I think by the time someone's holding a cigarette, he or she has already made a decision to smoke. I think it's better to focus on the benefits of not smoking, health, money, and somehow try to communicate that to the smoker before he or she buys the pack. All right, let's start with Mike in Illinois. Mike, you're first. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. What do you think?
So right before the break, you asked if it was overkill and it would make a difference. I think it is overkill, and that's why it's going to make a difference. Certainly there's people, especially young people, that will kind of do it even more so because of those warnings and laugh at it. But for people that have been doing it for a while, I think the message will, get through more. I remember, this is a while ago, I was in Ireland in 95, and they had warnings prominently displayed on the packs with skull crossbones saying this will kill you. And, I mean, I smoked, for a little while in my 20s, but if I would have seen that, I mean, I don't think I would have taken it seriously. Now, I guess it depends, how prominent the messages are on the cigarettes, if, they can be well seen. The one texter had a point, like, obviously, if he's got it in his hand. But I just think, repetition is one way to learn things. And if you keep seeing that over and over again, it might get through faster.
Thanks for the call, Mike. I appreciate it. 855-616-1620. I would be particularly interested in hearing from some of you people who are, in fact, smokers. If the warning labels were put on the cigarettes themselves, do you think it would encourage you to perhaps quit? Or perhaps would have encouraged you to not start smoking in the first place. And I guess, again, color me skeptical on this. I look at this stuff, and if you ask me, Jeff, is this going to hurt? Does it hurt anything? My answer would probably be no. On the other hand, I wonder whether this is virtue signaling because the decision, for example, I don't think there's anybody out there nowadays who makes the decision to start smoking thinking that this is going to be something that's good for them. My gosh, you're bombarded with all the different warnings and all the different realities that cigarette smoking leads to cancer. It's very, very bad, and yet people decide that they're going to do it anyways. The idea that you're going to print a warning on the cigarette itself, to me, isn't going to change. I don't think it's likely to change the dynamic at all. And for people who are out there who have been smoking for a while and become addicted, and it's very, very addictive. I know, because again, I've never smoked, but I know people who've given up the habit. They know it's bad for them. And I guess I just don't think that putting that label is really going to do anything. There's reasons why, people can't quit or whatever. It's because of the addiction. 855-616-1620. But I am intrigued. Do you think this would make a difference at all? Jeff, I think the only thing this will do is perhaps raise the cost of cigarettes. Jeff, I think the solution is education on the front end. This is the government overreach, treating citizens who are grown adults and are free to make their choices, treating them like children. This is one of the interesting things that I've always felt about this, because at some point in time, I think we're going to have to, in this country, grapple with the whole question of, are cigarettes so harmful that we're going to make the decision that we're going to try to do a new prohibition and see if we can make that work. I'm not advocating for that, but all this other stuff kind of just like dances around the edges. 855-616-1620, another caller from Illinois, Paul. Paul, good afternoon.
Yeah, hi, Jeff. Nice conversation, as usual.
Thank you, sir.
I don't think it's going to make a difference. Down in Illinois here, with the amount of marijuana, cannabis dispensaries opening up and the amount of people smoking more now, I think it's just going to not only make a difference for cigarettes, but I think it's going to feed off of each other. I think in 5 years you're going to see more smokers because of, again, down here we got all these cannabis shops opening up and dispensaries.
Well, Paul,
I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think it's just going to feed off of each other.
Well, Paul, it is interesting because, well, of course, I don't know how people indulge in marijuana nowadays. I think a lot of it, I am told, is the edibles and it's stuff like that, as opposed to the old days where you'd roll the joint or you'd put the marijuana in the pipe, or so I'm told. To the extent that people are still smoking it, you are correct. It's much more carcinogenic. It is, but of course, on the other hand, you have people who are smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Theoretically, even if you're a heavy pothead, you're not going to be smoking 20 joints a day, I don't think, unless you're just flat out never going to get out of mom's basement. I mean, that's just kind of the reality of this. 855-616-1620. Will this make a difference? Tom and Racine. Tom, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, Jeff, my point was that in a lot of your poorer neighborhoods, cigarettes are sold individually. You may buy 2 or 3. They're usually like $1 a piece.
Yeah.
And also, when kids are starting, they're not getting a pack of cigarettes. First off, you can't buy them. They're getting 1 or 2, or somebody's giving them one, or they're buying one from one of their buddies. So it may have value in that regard.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you're right. They call them, what's the term? Loosies, I think, Loosies, like loosies. That's, I think, the term that's used for like the single cigarette. Do you think, I guess, and this is what I wrestle with, and it's why I said a minute ago, Tom, I guess I don't think it hurts, but at the same time, you've got that 14-year-old kid and somebody gives them the cigarette, or they buy the cigarette for, 50 cents or a quarter or whatever it's going to be. Do you think they're going to stop to read that, or do you think that they're going to say, oh, the government's put this warning label on it here, I'm not going to take it? I guess that's what I'm wrestling with.
Yeah, I think you're right there. However, if you're doing it once or twice, somewhere along the line, you're going to look at it.
Yeah, maybe. No, thanks for calling. I mean, right, I go back to this thing, will it hurt? Can it hurt? No, I mean, I don't think it hurts, but I'm not convinced that it's helping. The interesting thing in Canada, and Canada has been, if anything, more aggressively anti-tobacco than the United States has been. They've got like the graphic pictures on the cigarette packs and things like that. We don't have that yet in the United States. There's an effort to do it, but it's been blocked by a federal judge. But our percentage of cigarette smoking, the decrease we've had, has mirrored the decrease in Canada. So I think, quite candidly, I think the way you deal with it is just more education and things like that. Eric in Menominee Falls. Eric, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
Real well, thank you. Will this make a difference?
I don't think it's going to make a difference. I've actually been in Canada as a smoker before, and a couple fun facts. I don't know if it's all of Canada, but they don't sell menthol or flavored cigarettes, so they're pretty heavy on the anti-smoking stuff.
Right.
And then, the warning packs, you can't buy American cigarettes in Canada. Everybody knows smoking's bad for you, if you want a cigarette, you're going to have one.
Right. Why do you think people start in the first place? That is always one of the most intriguing questions to me. I understand 50 years ago, but nowadays, knowing what we know and knowing how much cigarettes cost, why do you think people start in the first place?
Well, I started when I was 15 because it was cool.
Right. Right.
So, and you get a little buzz. You know what I mean? That little buzz, and then next thing you know, you're hooked.
Yeah.
And I've been smoking on and off. I think the longest I quit for was 2 years, but currently on. I don't know if that's on the wagon or off the wagon, but.
So how long have you been? How long this time have you been on the wagon as far as not smoking cigarettes?
About 2 years.
Okay. Well, was it hard? Is it hard?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, as soon as something extremely stressful comes along in your life, the first thing you think is, I could really go for a cigarette right now.
Yeah. No, I get. No, thanks for calling, Eric. I don't have a framework for this, although I have a very, very good friend who was, for a good portion of his life, was a heavy smoker. And, he says, and he quit, my gosh, probably at least 30 years ago, maybe more. But to this day, he says that if he ever was diagnosed with a terminal disease, you've got, X number of months to live. There's nothing we can do with you. He says he'd start smoking again. He says because he genuinely misses it. He says, I used to love the idea of after dinner just sitting back and having a cup of coffee and lighting up a cigarette. He said to this day I miss it. I understand it was bad for me. I quit because it was the right thing to do, but I just miss it. And to which my comment is, well, I hope you're never diagnosed with a terminal disease. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Join me every Saturday at noon for Experience Wisconsin, where we check in with communities across the state for the best and brightest spots from around our great state. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to teach you a couple things. This week, we're joined by Lake Geneva. Our girl Stephanie Collette will be with us. And from Road America, it's John Ewert. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturday at noon, right here on 620 WTMJ.
Hi, this is WTMJ's Jeff Wagner here to tell you about Built Right Furniture's Memorial Day mattress sale, which has been extended. Shop the most unique selection with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Look, Built Right always saves you money. Don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employee-free store. With Built Right's legitimate sale prices, you will get an exceptional value and you're going to get a great night's sleep. Built Right does the research for you, and their team is going to take the time to help fit you. Built Right specializes in flippable two-sided mattresses and heavy-duty mattresses that hold up to 600 pounds. Plus, they offer free delivery on mattress-only purchases of $5.99 or more, and they'll remove your old mattress as well. Select model sets include a free mattress pad or heavy-duty bed frame. Voted best place to shop and winner of the Home Furnishings Association 2023 National Retailer of the Year Award. Open Monday through Saturday. They open at 10, they close at 6. Sunday, well, as always, Sunday they're closed to be with family. When you get there, do me a favor, do yourself a favor too, because they love to hear this. Tell them WTMJ's Jeff Wagner sent you to locally and family-owned Built Right, 5430 West Layton Avenue in Greenfield.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Greg Scalzo for Smart Spaces. How can Smart Spaces transform your business?
Really looking at the entire space holistically. The environment, the walls, ceilings, lighting, flooring, furniture, technology, along with acoustics.
To conceptualize how the end users are going to interact with the room, from the furniture all the way down to the AV, having that work seamlessly within the environment and often hiding within the furniture.
Let Smart Spaces transform your business today. Visit smartspaceswi.com.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is this weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Millions of inventory must be sold. Prices are slashed up to 60% off retail, so save thousands. Save big on new hot tub spas and saunas. Plus, see the Michael Phelps Signature Swim Spas by Master Spas.
Hi, I'm Michael Phelps. Join the swimming revolution.
The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show this weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Park Cream Puff Pavilion. Visit 800spasale.com.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
So very glad to have you spending your Friday afternoon with us. WTMJ Breaking News time is 12:31, and from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here's Connie Weber.
Thanks, Jeff. President Biden will speak to the nation this evening about the debt ceiling bill. The Senate approved the measure yesterday after the House passed it Wednesday, averting the possibility of a catastrophic government default. Officials say a passenger train is derailed in eastern India, trapping many people inside its derailed coaches. More than 170 people hurt, taken to hospitals. Several hundred accidents occur every year on India's railways, the largest train network under one management in the world. The journal NPJ Climate and Atmospheric Science says the Earth's wheat supply is at risk of a dangerous shock due to extreme heat and drought. Taking a look at a worst-case scenario in which extreme weather hits two key regions for wheat in the same year, the U.S. Midwest and northeastern China. Milwaukee Urban Staples offering an equine therapy event for veterans this weekend, hosted by Miniature Donkeys. The family-friendly and free event will have equine therapy demonstrations, horse grooming stations, and refreshments, as well as 20 resource tables for veterans and their families. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is still up 678 points right now. The S&P 500 is up 63 and the NASDAQ Composite is up 144. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic. Those delays we talked about 30 minutes ago have been resolved. Everything smooth sailing again. 94 westbound from downtown to the zoo running about 6 minutes. The zoo to Highway 16, 11. 4145 southbound from Highway Q to the zoo interchange, about a 14-minute drive. And 94 southbound from the Marquette interchange to Layton Avenue, about 7 minutes.
Traffic is brought to you by the Harley-Davidson Museum. Head to the HD Museum campus Thursday, June 1st through Sunday, June 4th for the HD Factory Outlet Summer Sale on discontinued Harley-Davidson motor clothes, merchandise, and select officially licensed products.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast may be an isolated shower or thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, highs today, 82 lakeside, 90 inland. Partly cloudy tonight with a low 62. Partly cloudy tomorrow, highs 80 to 86. Partly cloudy Sunday and Monday with a slight chance of showers or thunderstorms both days. Sunday's high 75, ranging to 84. Monday's high 75. A little bit cooler on Tuesday. Partly cloudy and breezy with a high of 70. Kenosha right now 72. Menominee Falls 84. Milwaukee 76 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1233.
I'm Jeff Wagner. Coming up next, we say it a lot on this program. Just because you have the right to do something or just because you can do something doesn't always make it the right thing to do. A controversial subject in that regard coming up right after the news.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
In this seller's market, even homeowners are trying to sell their own home. But more times than not, it doesn't work out like they'd hoped. And while homes like theirs are selling, and selling fast for over asking prices, their homes aren't. So what's your next best strategy? Well, if you're looking to relieve yourself of the stress of selling your own home and still get top dollar while getting the full service benefits that an experienced realtor can give you, then look no further. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where 3.5 to 3.9% commission assures that you pay less for full service. Only 11% of those trying to sell their own homes actually succeed. And of those that do sell their own home, they sell on average for 26% less than agented properties. This often negates the savings they were hoping to get by doing it on their own. So why do it on your own when you have an experienced realtor that will give you full service at only 3.5 to 3.9% commission? Don't let your home sit while others are selling faster and at potentially better than asking prices. Call Benefit Realty for a highly experienced agent, and you'll pay less for full service.
If mom or dad aren't comfortable with assisted living, now's the time to have their home equipped to accommodate their needs. There's a huge customer appreciation sale going on at Miller Mobility, June 9th and 10th. Save on stair lifts, ramps, scooters, lift chairs, bathroom safety, and more. Miller Mobility can equip any home to accommodate everything a senior needs without moving into an assisted living facility. Mention this ad and save an additional 10%. See their huge showroom in Oconomowoc or visit millermobility.com.
Outdoor living here is great, but it's best when it's at your own home. And there's a company called Outdoor Living Unlimited that will build you a deck, a patio, pergola, fire pit, all manner of things to enhance outdoor living at your place, even an outdoor kitchen. Contact Outdoor Living Unlimited and get creative about your yard. Your wishes, your ideas. Outdoor Living Unlimited's knowledge and expertise. Roll those dreams into reality. See OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com. That's OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
One final text on the smoking, because it's an interesting one. One of our texters says, Jeff, as to why it is that people smoke cigarettes, Many state that they know a man or woman who smoked cigarettes and lived to 92. I'm sure some do. My grandfather died at 71 and my uncle died at 64, both from smoking cigarettes. Yeah, that's the same thing. It's the same argument, and I do get on my soapbox about this, about people who, end up driving without seatbelts on, and how many of these collisions, these accidents, these chases have we talked about just in the last couple months, where somebody dies because they were ejected from a car and they weren't wearing a seatbelt. And I know that there's some of you out there who just to this day that make the decision not to wear seatbelts. And look, and I understand, because when I started driving years ago, it's a lot of people, you had the option of doing it. No, and I've heard all the arguments. No, I don't want to wear the seatbelt. It's too confining or whatever. And inevitably, you always get somebody who will say, well, I know somebody who knew somebody who had a cousin who dated a girl whose brother was in an automobile accident, and if he'd been wearing the seatbelt, he would be dead. And I'm sure there are those anecdotal stories. I'm sure that, you find that unicorn once out of 10,000 times. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a betting guy. I don't want to bet that I'm going to be that 1 out of 10,000 situation, because the reality is, when it comes to seatbelts, cars are a lot safer now. But it all starts with the restraint system, with wearing the shoulder harness and the seatbelt so you're not thrown around the car. That's when the airbags come in and all the other stuff does. But if you're not restrained, boom, you're going through the window. Boom, you're smashing into the steering wheel. And so while I accept the fact that there might be that case, it's the unicorn. The same thing is true with cigarette smoking. I think it's inevitable that you just can't even argue with the fact that it is incredibly bad for you. Now, we all do things, or at least if you're human like I am, most of us do things that are bad for us in one shape or form. Maybe you shouldn't have that extra piece of birthday cake, or, maybe you shouldn't be eating the junk food, or oh my gosh, you're drinking regular soda, or you're drinking diet soda, or how much coffee are you drinking, you're having beer. I mean, look, I understand that we all make these choices, and some are worse than others. And as grown-ups, we all get to deal with the cost of that. But for people who would try to make the argument, well, I don't believe that cigarette smoking is bad for you, that one is a very tough sell. Hey, a follow-up on a story that we talked about earlier this week, and it all kind of ties into another recurring theme on this program, which is, if you don't have consequences, we shouldn't be surprised if people do the same thing over and over again. And it's one of my favorite, in a just head-shaking way, story of the week. The guy's name is Daniel Barton. All right, so here is the deal. A Shorewood police squad car was stolen on Tuesday evening, May 30th. Police say the man arrested had also stolen a Milwaukee police vehicle in December. The Shorewood crime happened near Capitol Drive and Estabrook around 6 p.m. Tuesday. That is right by where our radio studios used to be. Police say that there was a traffic stop. During a traffic stop, a 34-year-old man, identified as now Daniel Barton, entered the vehicle and drove off. So they're making a traffic stop, cops out of the car. This guy comes up, jumps in the car, and drives off. The officer then has to call the dispatch saying, somebody just stole my squad car. Now, of course, this raises a whole lot of issues. I understand intellectually, at least, going out and stealing certain cars, but what in God's green earth are you going to do with a squad car? So anyhow, guy drives off in the squad car. The squad was found abandoned near Capitol and Holton. It was not damaged. Milwaukee police arrested a 34-year-old man named Daniel Barton a short time later. Okay, so the guy jumps in the car, he drives off, stolen a squad car. According to police, and this is the dazzling detail of the story, he was identified as the same person who stole a Milwaukee squad car in December 5th of 2022, so less than 6 months ago. Same thing, during a traffic stop, he jumps in and steals a Milwaukee squad car at Holton and Keefe during a traffic stop. He ditched the car near Richards and Burleigh and ran, but was arrested again. The man, Daniel Barton, was charged with driving a vehicle without the owner's consent. So online court records show a warrant was issued for him in February after he failed to show up for court. So the guy steals a Milwaukee police squad car. He is charged, interestingly, and this is the dazzling detail, they charge him with a misdemeanor, a Class A misdemeanor. I can't believe that you can steal a Milwaukee cop car and they only charge you with a misdemeanor. Anyhow, he's charged with a misdemeanor. He doesn't show up for court. In February, they issue a bench warrant for him, but nobody goes out and picks him up. Okay, nobody goes out and picks him up. So he's out. There's an outstanding warrant for him, and he does the same thing last Tuesday, this time in Shorewood. And now they've arrested him again. I don't know how low a bail they're going to let him out on. But again, it's one of these examples of lack of consequences. He steals the first squad car in December. They slap him on the wrist by charging him with a misdemeanor. They let him out. I'm not even sure if there was a cash bail. Don't know that for sure one way or the other. But obviously, it wasn't enough to deter him from doing the same thing a few months later. If you don't have consequences, why should we be surprised that criminals are going to do the same thing over and over and over again? When we come back, all right, just because you can do something, does it mean you should? Stick around.
Stay tuned. Jeff Wagner returns after this on WTMJ.
Did you know that the Inflation Reduction Act can save you thousands on energy-efficient updates like new insulation, siding, windows, and more? And these dollars are in addition to Focus on Energy rebates. I'm Randy Miller, owner of All Right Home and Remodeling and S&E Insulation. As Department of Energy Century Club award winners, my team has the proven skills and experience to help you take advantage of these unprecedented incentives. Get started at ALLRITE remodeling.com.
Kessler's is famous
nationwide for diamond engagement rings.
But what most people don't know
is that Kessler's is equally amazing at wedding bands.
Engagement rings come in thousands of styles.
But not all engagement rings come with a matching wedding band.
No problem.
No problem. No problem.
You heard the part about equally amazing wedding bands, right?
That's real. We are amazing at wedding bands.
We have a wedding band that is going to look fantastic.
Fantabulous.
Incomprehensibly good.
With your engagement ring.
It's going to look really good.
Ricky.
I prefer Rick.
You need to work with us.
Yeah, Ricky. Work with us.
Seriously, you're going to be extremely happy with what you find at Kessler's. Our sales associates are good at helping you find the perfect wedding band.
Much better, Ricky.
I prefer Rick.
Yeah, Ricky. Much better. Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you, visit Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
When big national banks make a decision, it requires many emails, phone calls, and plenty of video conferences from around the globe. When we make a banking decision, we do it over a cup of coffee in our office. Finding a local bank that's passionate about the community and knows your name is hard to find these days.
Good morning, Diane. Welcome back.
The search is over.
Waterstone Bank, proud to be your local bank for over 100 years. Love your bank as much as we love this community. Waterstone Bank, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Washington County.
Member FDIC.
From simple in-office procedures that could stop your snoring to effective treatments like a slim-fitting oral appliance, Advent can put your snoring or sleep apnea struggle to bed for good.
AdventNows.com. Hey, boaters!
We have the go-to marine store. And it's not just because we have all the boat parts and supplies you'll ever need, including oddball parts you thought you'd never be able to find. And it's also because we're cheaper than the other guys too. So why shop anywhere else? This is Dave Doro from Kendor Marine. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water. Hey boaters!
This is Dave Doro from Kendor Marine. When you get here, you might be overwhelmed when you see so much stuff. But don't be, because our staff knows just where to find what you need. They're knowledgeable, friendly, and willing to help so that you can find everything you need to keep your boat in tip-top shape. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
One of our texters makes such an interesting point, because I was thinking the same thing. We were talking about the guy who steals squad cars and has now stolen two, one a Shorewood one earlier this week after stealing a Milwaukee squad car in December. And the question that the texter asked is, Jeff, I'm confused. Does the guy lay in wait for any cop car that might be stolen? And that is, what a great question. And I said, I have no idea, but you would think, I mean, I don't know. Do you just kind of walk up and down and saying, okay, well, here's a speed trap or something. I'm just going to sort of walk up and down hoping that I'm going to see a car be pulled over? Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but normally when I see cars that are pulled over, I'm in my car. I mean, I'm not going to pull my car over, get out, steal the squad car, and drive off. How you even do this or go about it is something that I don't understand, and that's probably a good thing. Okay, here's the story. My mom passed away 13 years ago. My dad a couple years after that. I miss my parents to this day. But when they passed away, I was in my 50s, early 50s, and so I had the real blessing. My mom was just a great lady. People who grew up, who knew my mom, in the North Shore and stuff. I know every little boy loves their mom, and that's true. And I was certainly one. But I had the benefit for at least a good portion of my life as a teenager, and then as a young adult, and then as an adult. I had the benefit of having my parents in my life, and it was a real blessing. There's just no question about it. Now, a lot of times people don't have that chance because we never know what's going to happen with life. You have young people that get sick and die, and car crashes and all these things. So there's no guarantee. But just all things being equal, it's just a blessing to have your parents in your life. At least I view that. And I was thinking about this as I saw this story this week. Al Pacino, Michael in The Godfather, etc. They just announced that he is, at the age of 83, about to have a baby with his 29-year-old girlfriend. He's 83. Robert De Niro, 79, just had his 7th child with a younger partner as well. Pacino's going to be 83. De Niro is 79. Now, obviously, the biology is something that, yes, you can do this. Okay? Yes, the male, at some point in time, ladies, you're not going to be able to have babies at 79. That's just kind of the way biology is. But for men, yes, you apparently can still have children when you're 79 or you're 83 or whatever. You can do it. But just because you can do it, doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Now, I understand this gets to be kind of a touchy issue, and I understand when you're looking at people like Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, they've got a ton of money, so presumably their child is not going to want for anything. But here's the reality. While no parent is guaranteed a long life, a person who has a child in their 70s or 80s, the reality of life expectancy is you're probably, at best, you're going to be around when the kid becomes a teenager. That's at best. And so for most of that child's life, they are going to be without a parent. Our number is 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Is that fair to the kids? And again, I understand that there's no guarantees in life, and you can have, I don't know, somebody who's in their mid-20s who gets diagnosed with some terrible terminal form of cancer and boom, dies at the age of 27, leaving 3 young children behind. I understand that happens, and that is awful. But that's a different situation, it seems to me, than somebody who is 80 years old, knowingly making the decision that, here, I'm going to bring a child into the world. Now, with Al Pacino, it sounds like this might have been a surprise. The reports today are that when she said she was pregnant, he wanted her to take a paternity test, because that might have been a surprise. I'm not sure it was with De Niro. But for people, for these guys, even if they're financially in a position to do it, does it seem like it's the right thing to do to you for people to bring children into the world at 75 or 80 or 85 years old, knowing that, again, when you look at life expectancy, there's a limited amount of time, and in all likelihood, that child is going to spend most of their life without, in this case, their natural father. 855-616-1620, we discuss.
Stay tuned. Jeff Wagner returns after this on WTMJ.
The Best Buddies golf outing is the hottest ticket in June. We can promise it will be a fantastic afternoon of golf, networking, and friendship. Share the day with friends, clients, or colleagues. Hit a few balls, miss a few balls. And meet some new friends along the way. June 12th at Ironwood Golf Course. For all questions or for sponsorship opportunities, contact Caroline Tyson at carolinetyson@bestbuddies.org.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Here's to the farm and fleet dads, the ones who work hard and get the job done right, the ones who take pride in what they do and take the time to pass it on. This Father's Day, get your dad a gift he'll love, like a 46-inch 8-drawer Milwaukee tool chest and 10-drawer storage cabinet. $150 in combined savings. All Timberland Pro work boots and shoes are on sale. And assorted Irwin Vice Grip pliers are just $10.99.
Find value at Green's Farm and Fleet.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend only to the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% off retail. This weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I always thought Vince Lombardi came up with that famous sports nugget, but it turns out he borrowed it from a college coach. And now I'm going to borrow it too, because when there are 10 or 20 offers on a property, there's only one winner. In today's inventory-starved real estate market, you need a Lombardi-level mortgage coach, one who has all the best plays in the playbook. Going with your bank for your pre-approval is like playing in a professional playoff game with the JV coach at the helm. The Lombardi-level coaches at AccuNet are called senior loan consultants, and each one has been trained by me to help you and your real estate agent work as one team to deliver the one and only thing that matters, winning. So if you've been losing with your flimsy bank pre-approval, trade up today to a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and a Lombardi-level game plan. And if you're just getting started, why not start with the best? Click on the blue button today and get started with your winning game plan at ACCUNET.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Back for more. Here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
And I understand it's also a matter of degree. Let's say you have a guy who's 60 years old, late 50s, early 60s, and he's probably now remarried, younger woman. She wants to have a family. Well, that's okay. You have a child when you're in your early 60s. If you look at lifespans, well, everything being equal, chances are, maybe you're going to be able to live into your 80s. You're at least around when the kid is a teenager and things like that. But these cases, 79, 82, 83 years old to start having babies. Now, again, maybe you're going to beat the mortality table odds, but chances are that you're probably not going to be around certainly by the time the kid starts driving. And I understand you can leave your legacy, and you can leave the money and all that sort of stuff. But is that fair? Is it fair to the kids to do that? And I say that appreciating that, all sorts of stuff can happen in life. Let's talk to Sandra in Appleton. Sandra, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm glad I am able to get through to you.
Sure.
Yeah, my father was 68, my mother 45. Not quite as 70 or 80, but still, as the years went by, I'm glad I'm here.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, right.
But my mother had to take care of me, and then he got sick, and so really I didn't have a father for a long time. So
yeah, how old was your dad when he passed, if you remember?
72.
Okay, so I mean, essentially, your dad got sick and passed by the time before you were 5 or 6 years old, essentially. So,
yeah, correct.
Yeah,
correct. And my mother was up there in age 2, not so to speak, not
right.
But anyway, those things happen, and I just wanted to call you and let you know what my feelings are about it.
No, thanks. And again, I appreciate it, right? Because thanks for calling, Sandra. I mean, again, I understand if you're glad you're here, but at the same time, that you go through your entire life without your natural father. And look, and I understand people get divorced. I understand, some people go through their whole life without knowing who their father was. I get that all that's happening. But, I guess I wrestle with this decision that older men make to say, okay, at the age of 80, I want to have more children just because I can. And I think, that's sort of the issue there. Is it selfish? Jeff, besides leaving a child potentially fatherless at a very young age, you won't be much involved in a lot of activities as well. Yes, I understand that reading to your child, et cetera, is fine, but how about playing soccer with them, et cetera? I think that, you could fairly use the word, selfish. Jeff, I always say here's an interesting text. I always say that with age comes wisdom. There are exceptions to this rule. These older men becoming fathers, I think, show a lack of wisdom. I think it's more of a pride issue. Look at me. I'm an old man having babies. Very sad, in my opinion. They should be thinking of these children coming into the world who are going to be raised without having a father around. Again, you can do it. And I understand, and I'm sure there's all these things that, work out really well. And I appreciate that it's not like, Robert De Niro's 7th child or Al Pacino's, 5th child. It's not like they're going to be financially neglected or things like that. It's just, I don't know, you just know that one of the parents in all likelihood isn't going to be around for all those different important events. And I guess that's the question. Is it selfish to do that? All right, we got a lot of great stuff coming up in the 1 o'clock hour of the program, including it's another reason why people are going to Amazon. I'll explain and we'll discuss. Don't go anywhere.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
It's David Nason for Current Electric. They've been providing 5-star electrical service for 40 years, striving to be southeastern Wisconsin's first choice in renewable energy. Discover the latest benefits of going solar at Current Electric's Solar Block Party. Enjoy food, games, and prizes, and learn how you can save on your energy bill too. Join me at the Solar Block Party this Saturday, June 10th, from 11 to 1:30 in West Allis at 2141 South 55th Street. Contact their superheroes today at callcurrent.com.
Ready to downsize and move from your longtime home? Call Bruce's team today. Their senior real estate specialist will guide you every step of the way. Go from overwhelmed to I can do this. 262-242-6177. Bruce'sTeam.com.
The new Raid Essentials Light Trap uses light to attract, then trap flying insects like fruit flies and mosquitoes. For insecticide protection that's people and pet friendly, get new Raid Essential Light Trap.
Seriously injured? Call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Aw, look, you aren't the worst in the NL Central. For now.
Line down the right field line. This is up and it is gone. Abraham Toro.
The Brewers are in Cincinnati with coverage starting this afternoon at 3:35 on News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
1 o'clock, we have 75 degrees, partly cloudy today, maybe a shower or thunderstorm this afternoon. Highs 82 to 90 from the WTMJ Breaking News Center. I'm Connie Weber. The deal to raise the debt ceiling now headed to President Biden's desk. Senate passed it after a marathon of negotiations and a bitter standoff. Now the president will sign it into law to avoid a default. Here's ABC News business correspondent Alexis Christoforous.
It's a huge relief because now Americans don't need to worry about a disruption in some payments. Remember, we had been talking for weeks about the fact that Social Security beneficiaries, federal employees, veterans might see disruption to their payments. That's not going to happen. It also keeps the stock market from a steep sell-off there. There were jitters that if the government were to run out of money, that our interest rates would go sky high. That's not going to happen now. So this is really just a moment of breathing a sigh of relief.
Meanwhile, an effort's underway to make sure Wisconsin gets the COVID-19 relief funding it was designated.
The debt ceiling agreement rescinds any unspent pandemic funding previously allocated to states. Therefore, Congressman Mark Pocan tells the Journal Sentinel that he's been contacting federal agencies to make sure Wisconsin gets every dollar it was expecting. Pocan says he's been literally going line by line to identify possible funding, but the paper says just how much money is actually at risk is not clear. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
A Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputy recovering from minor injuries after she was dragged by the driver of a stolen vehicle this morning during a traffic stop near the lakefront. TMJ4's Bruce Harrison has more from near Bradford Beach.
The sheriff's office says that a deputy was making a traffic stop, and the driver of a stolen car then drove away, dragging that deputy, and she was scraped up and bruised a bit.
The driver of that stolen vehicle remains at large. A couple of Milwaukee County Sheriff's Patrol cars crashed during a pursuit near Lake and Jarvis last night. One car ended up in a home in Shorewood. When they terminated the crash, they crashed and sent one of those patrol cars into the house. Nobody was hurt in that incident. Driver of a school bus, a woman who's 8 months pregnant, credited with saving 30 students on board the bus that caught fire. I'm Unique Williams, tells TMJ4 News motherly instinct prompted her to act quickly.
I could barely get what I was trying to say out because of the smoke was hitting me in my face and my eyes. So I just was like, okay, forget the radio. I'll just get the kids off the bus. I think that's what it was. Like my mommy instincts kicked in really fast.
Williams suffered smoke inhalation, but otherwise is doing just fine. That bus on its way to the Milwaukee Academy of Science. Officials in Davenport, Iowa say 3 people remain unaccounted for after that apartment building partially collapsed on Sunday. A special search team entered the building yesterday and used live and cadaver canines. The city's paused plans to demolish the building. Justice Department announced this week they will not pursue criminal charges against former Vice President Mike Pence following an investigation into classified documents found in his Indiana home earlier this year. ABC's Catherine Falders has more.
DOJ has notified Pence that they didn't find any reason to pursue any criminal charges, and they were looking into this alleged mishandling of documents. So, look, every sign points to that Pence found these documents once he became, of course, aware that Trump had taken them. To then, of course, his lawyers notified the Justice Department. It was more of a proactive notification in nature.
Pence to announce this week he's running for president. The Wisconsin State Fair is looking for workers. The fair is holding a jobs fair on Saturday. CEO Sherry Black.
Numerous positions available in public safety, within our facilities department, admission, ticket taking. There's a number of opportunities if anybody is interested.
The jobs fair will be held at the Expo Center from 10 till 2 p.m. tomorrow. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 104.
This report is sponsored by the Froedtert Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network.
Breakthroughs aren't just for medical journals. They're to help people hold their grandbabies for the first time. Expertise isn't just for awards or recognition. It can be what gives people the best chance to walk again. At the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, people are the driving force behind everything we do. So we never lose sight of what's important. And we never forget who it's for. Because in the end, we're people helping people. That means every breakthrough, every clinical study, every interaction is to help people like you, your family, and your neighbors be the best they can be. We do everything humanly possible because we see everything humanly possible in you. To find out how compassion motivates world-class care, visit Froedtert.com.
What's the way to build your wealth.
A wiser way to build your wealth starts with choosing a financial planning firm that is fee only, because it means they work for you. Fee-only firms like Financial Strategies, Inc. don't work for a bank or brokerage firm or an insurance company or mutual fund company, because we don't want our decisions for your best interest compromised in any way. We work for you, and only in your best interest. And fee-only means the success we care about most is yours. Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee-only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion. I'm Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., a fee-only, comprehensive financial planning firm. And I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
With a record of 29-27, the Brewers hold on to first place in the NL Central by a half-game margin over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Milwaukee and Cincinnati tonight to begin a 4-game series against the Reds. Coverage gets underway at 3:35 on WTMJ. Organized team activities. Block 2 wraps up for the Packers today. Block 3 begins June 5th. David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins among the veterans in attendance. And the Denver Nuggets own a 1-0 series lead over the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. It's possible the Heat could have shooting guard Tyler Hero back for Game 2. Hero, the Whitnall High School product, suffered a hand injury during Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Bucks. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. 94 westbound from downtown to the zoo, about a 5-minute drive. But the zoo to Highway 16, there are some delays there. Usually that's about an 11-minute drive. It's going to take you about 14. 4145 southbound from Highway Q to the zoo, about 14. 43 northbound from downtown to Brown Deer Road, running about 10. And 94 from the Marquette Interchange to Layton Avenue, about a 6-minute drive this afternoon.
Traffic is brought to you by the Harley-Davidson Museum. Head to the HD Museum campus Thursday, June 1st through Sunday, June 4th for the HD Factory Outlet Summer Sale on discontinued Harley-Davidson motor clothes, merchandise, and select officially licensed products.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, mostly sunny to partly cloudy, well inland, where we'll find a pop-up shower or thunderstorm this afternoon and early evening. Otherwise, a very warm day with high temperatures in the 80s, near 90 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the 60s. Saturday, a mix of sun and clouds, around 80 by the lakeshore, mid-80s inland. Sunday, slight chance for a shower or a storm, but I wouldn't count on it. Otherwise, partly cloudy, highs near the lake in the mid-70s, mid-80s inland. Monday, a front will come through, a little better chance for a few showers or storms, but doesn't look like a widespread soaking rain like we could use. 75 for a high temperature on Monday. Tuesday, cooler behind that front, partly cloudy, breezy with a high of 70. I'm meteorologist Kristen Kershane with the Storm Team forecast on WTMJ.
Right now in Madison, 85 degrees, Green Bay, 83, and Milwaukee, 76 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 108.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome back to the show. Hey, if you follow me on Twitter, it's at Jeff Wagner 620. This could be a very, very profitable, like 30 to 60 seconds. I've got a link to a story. The Wisconsin Department of Revenue, they are in the middle of their annual unclaimed property awareness campaign, and they've just come out with their new list of people who have, in the state of Wisconsin, have cash or other property waiting to be claimed. A lot of times this will be like tax refunds that you might be entitled to that, you never found out about or you never claimed, or maybe delinquent, I think, bank accounts or things like that. Anyhow, the Department of Revenue currently has $600 million in unclaimed property, $600 million that they want to give to the rightful owners. And they've got the Department of Revenue has this search page, and I've got a link to that. So if you follow me on Twitter, it's at Jeff Wagner 620. Got this posting. It's actually a Fox 6 story that will take you to the website, the DOR Unclaimed Property search page. You put in your full name, and then you hit search, and then it'll list all those people with your name that have money coming back, and then it'll unclaim property. And then what you do is you have to, match it up to your address and stuff. I just throw that out there because, I did it this morning. I thought, okay, let's see. Now, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, there's no unclaimed property sitting around for me, but maybe for you. So if you want to get a link to this, again, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at Jeff Wagner 620. Got a link to the Department of Revenue's unclaimed property search page. So, go figure with that. This is a story, and Connie was referring to it. This is a story that I admit just kind of hacks me off. And when they catch the person who did this, I hope that this is a situation where the case doesn't get John Chisholmed. It goes to the district attorney's office, and then just kind of we get the Chisholm effect that we'll charge somebody with a misdemeanor, and then we'll let them out on a stupid low bail to do stuff again. Here's what happened. A sheriff's deputy was injured this morning. What happened is down at the North Point parking lot, if you're familiar with Lincoln Memorial Drive, down on the lakefront, there's the parking lot kind of right by Bradford Beach, right in the middle there, where you've got like the hamburger stand and things like that. So apparently what happened is they've got cameras down there, and this is sort of interesting. They've got what they call flock license plate recognition cameras. So they're checking license plates of cars that are there, and they find out that there is a stolen vehicle that's in the parking lot. Okay, so the sheriff's deputies, and that's patrolled by the sheriff's department as opposed to the police department. So the sheriff's deputies respond to the fact that there's a stolen car in the North Point parking lot. So what happens is they get there, and a sheriff's deputy, it's a female sheriff's deputy, apparently she goes up to the car, and you've got the guy who's in the stolen car. She goes up to it to conduct an investigation, and as she is at the window, the guy takes off during this stop, dragging her after him. It's like she gets caught on it or whatever. She gets knocked over and dragged. Now, the good news is that she wasn't seriously injured when the guy driving the stolen car fled. But she was knocked down and suffered bruises and scrapes. But it could have been a lot worse. But the fact that it could have been a lot worse doesn't change the dynamic. So right now, the police are looking for the driver and the stolen car. And my guess is got a pretty good description, and I would imagine that under these circumstances, they're going to end up catching the person. He also apparently banged into a pickup truck that was parked there as well. But at this point in time, in the process of fleeing, the point is he hurt the sheriff's deputy. So when they catch him, and I'm pretty confident this will be a when they catch him, like I say, I hope this isn't a case where we see where the matter gets Chisholmed and, here, we're not going to issue significant charges and we're going to let him out on stupid low bail. This is something where somebody was willing to flee from a sheriff's deputy who was essentially hanging onto the side of the car, didn't care whether that deputy was injured or not. That tells you a lot. And if you don't get the guy that did this off the streets and punish him for this, you know there's going to be another time, and that next time somebody else might end up dead. So you can always check that out. All right, here is the story. I love to support local businesses. I do. At the same time, I wrestle with the fact that I am a creature of convenience, and I admit that there's a factor of just being easy. I love books. My wife just kind of rolls her head as we're getting like books. She said, "When are you going to have time to read all these books?" I said, "That's okay. It's not like I'm buying heroin. I'm buying books. It's great. There will be a time that I can sit and read." But just a little while ago, earlier this morning, I was looking and I was seeing that the TV show Justified with Timothy Oliphant that ran for several years, it's been off the air for about 8 years. They're bringing it back. And it was based on a character written by the late mystery novelist Elmore Leonard. And they're bringing it back. It's going to start airing in July, and it's going to be based on an Elmore Leonard book called City Primeval, which is a book about it's a mystery about something that happens in Detroit. And so what they're going to do is they're going to take the character from Justified and they're going to plop him into Detroit. So it's not fully tied into the novel. But I thought, hey, this sounds like an interesting book. So it's 2012. I could have, I guess, sometime this weekend in spare time that I don't have, I could have perhaps gone to some of these bookstores to see if they have this 2012 Elmore Leonard book, that I'm kind of interested in paperback. But, I mean, that's just too much work. I confess to that. So what I do is I go to my Amazon account. Yes, they can have it delivered by tomorrow at noon. They could have had it delivered sooner if I wanted it, but tomorrow at noon is fine. I order the book, and the book will show up on my doorstep, and then I'm going to have it to read whenever I want. So a lot of these brick and mortar stores are fighting the issue of convenience. It's getting worse. Don't know if you saw this story. We've talked in the past about out-of-control shoplifting and the fact that you have a number of stores that are closing because they're getting hit. The term they use in the industry is shrinkage, but it means shoplifting. You had the Walmart on 124th and Capitol or whatever that ended up closing. And while they don't come out and say it fully, it's because there was just so much shoplifting that it just no longer got profitable. Well, rather than closing, some retailers are starting to just say, okay, well, here's the deal this is how we're going to have to do business. So I'm looking at a story about Walgreens, and these are Walgreens in Chicago. There are a number of Walgreens in Chicago that have been temporarily closed. They are now reopening, but you're not going to, in general, be able to walk into the Walgreens and walk up and down the aisles taking stuff. What's going to happen is you will be unable to shop for yourself at most of the store. The only exception is going to be two small aisles of what they call essentials. And those essentials, they're going to be open for shopping, but they're going to be monitored by employees, and the shelving only goes up 5 feet tall, so the employees who are in these aisles for the essentials, they can monitor what's going on. For all the other items, except for these two small aisles of essentials, here's what you have to do. You have to go in. Everything is locked up. You have to use a kiosk station to digitally select the items you want. So you go through and you say, okay, I want razor blades. Boom. I want AAA batteries. Boom. You use this kiosk section as you go through the store. And I don't know if you're assigned a number or how this works out, but what you do is you punch all these different buttons as you go shopping, and then at the end then you go up to the counter to pay, and somebody has apparently gone around and collected all the stuff that you have ordered. So in theory, when you get up to the counter to pay, the stuff that you have ordered has been collected. Now, how you do this as a practical matter is a little bit beyond me, because these retail stores don't have enough people to begin with. So, every time you've got a shopper in there, somebody's going to be, okay, we've got orders for this and that and the other thing. But the bottom line is you're not going to be able to walk up and down aisles and pick out what you want, with the exception of these two small little aisles that are there. In addition, you're not even going to be in a situation where they've got something that's under lock and key, so you can try to find an employee who will open it up and give it to you, and then you take it up there. All your shopping is going to have to be done through this digital thing where you can't feel it, you can't touch it. All you can do is simply say, I want it. You hit this button, and hopefully it's going to be waiting for you. Our number is 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. Is this going to work? And I guess, look, to me, I'm not a shopper. I'm a buyer. And it's hard enough to get me to go into stores to buy stuff. But sometimes, hey, all right, if I need toothpaste, I need whatever, I'm going to run into the Walgreens that's across the street from where I live, and I'm going to grab a couple things, and I'm going to be out. If now I have to walk through the stores, pick stuff out, hit the button, wait for it to get delivered to the front when I'm done shopping, I'm sorry, I just don't want to work that hard, and I don't think most people do. 855-616-1620, we discuss.
Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.
Oh, sure. Milwaukee traffic's nothing, they said. You can get anywhere in 5 minutes, they said. I've been sitting here forever. Oh, wait, I know who can help out.
Looks like we've got a full freeway closure on 43 northbound, starting right about at Silver Spring. If you're caught in the backups, you want to exit at Hampton and make your way over to Highway 57.
Thanks, Debbie.
No problem, noble commuter. You can hear me mornings and afternoons on WTMJ.
This is WTMJ's Jeff Wagner, here to tell you about Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses. If you're looking for affordable, better quality furniture or mattresses, you have to do what a couple of my family members did. They went to Built Right. When you get to the store, you're going to find a 45,000 square foot showroom with thousands of furniture items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. This includes a huge selection of USA and Amish-made furniture, plus better quality imported furniture for any size home. Also, check out Built Right's over 48 models of in-stock power lift recliners. Special and custom orders are much faster in 2023 as well. Free in-store design services are available too. And now's a great time to get to Built Right, as their Memorial Day sale has been extended. Built Right, voted best place to shop and winner of the Home Furnishings Association's 2023 National Retailer of the Year Award. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday they're closed to be with family. When you get there, do me a favor, do yourself a favor too. Tell them WTMJ's Jeff Wagner sent you to locally and family-owned Built Right, 5430 West Layton Avenue in Greenfield.
I'm Randy Miller.
No, you're not. I'm Randy Miller, owner of All Right Home and Remodeling.
I'm DJ.
Someday you might be the owner of All Right.
Like you and Daddy?
You'll have to learn that our family business is about more than just our family.
Do it right, call All Right.
Yes, but doing things right also means giving back.
When you want it all right, you call All Right. All Right, so many miles away.
If mom or dad aren't comfortable with assisted living, now's the time to have their home equipped to accommodate their needs. There's a huge customer appreciation sale going on at Miller Mobility, June 9th and 10th. Save on stair lifts, ramps, scooters, lift chairs, bathroom safety, and more. Miller Mobility can equip any home to accommodate everything a senior needs without moving into an assisted living facility. Mention this ad and save an additional 10%. See their huge showroom in Oconomowoc or visit millermobility.com.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Hey, here's a success story. I mentioned that my Twitter posting with a link to the Department of Revenue's unclaimed website. 3 texters all said they've collected dough. They went there, and now, doesn't sound like it's a lot of dough, but 3 texters said, hey, thanks for this. I just found out that I have $45. That's one. $45 coming back to me. Okay, you are $45 wealthier because you listen to the Wagner Show this afternoon. You just can't beat that, right? So again, if you want to just check it out, it's kind of a fun thing. I did it this morning too. I didn't expect to do it. All right, 855-616-1620. This, I'm afraid, this is the trend of the future. What Walgreens has done in Chicago is in a couple of what I'm going to call the high crime sort of areas, they're with a very, very limited exception, you can no longer walk the aisles and pick out goods. You have to, it's all digital. You go in, they've got digital kiosks, and I don't exactly understand how it works, but you go up and down the aisles and you say, okay, I want 6 tubes of Colgate toothpaste, and I want 2 things of mouthwash, and I want 3 things of deodorant, and you push these orders in, and somebody goes and collects it for you, and then it's waiting for you when you get to, or you wait for it when you get up there to check out. It's got to delay the shopping process. It's kind of like, on a big level, though, if you've ever lived in a state where they have the state liquor stores, and at a lot of the state liquor stores, you can't just walk up and down the aisles and look at stuff. You have to go in, and they've got all the different stuff that's listed, and then what you have to do is you have to say, okay, I want a bottle of this, and you give the list to the guy, and the guy gets it for you. It's like that. I think this is going to kill in-store shopping. Let's start with Jim in Milwaukee. Jim, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hey, thanks for taking the call. Way too time consuming.
Yep.
If I'm going to run in and out for something, I'm not going to go through all of this for a tube of toothpaste, package of razors, Band-Aids, whatever. I mean, I hate shopping anyway, unless it's like a Home Depot or something.
Yeah.
But I cannot, just the mundane things that you need day to day.
Right.
Amazon's going to love this.
Yeah, because we're not going to do it.
Online shopping.
Yeah,
yes,
no,
I will not do. I refuse to do it.
Right. I mean, just
I don't like doing it now.
Well, right, and just describing it. I mean, this is my personal idea of hell. You know, the idea that okay, I'm going to go through. Instead of just being able to run in, I need to run in and get some cold pills. Okay, whatever. And maybe when I'm in there, I'll pick up something else. Well, here now I'm not going to be able to buy the over-the-counter cold pills. I'm going to have to register and hit this and hit that, and then wait and hope it's there. It ain't going to happen. No, thanks for the call, Jeff. I'm a former Target employee. There were times when I was the only employee on the floor besides whoever was in electronics. And I work nights and weekends when it's very busy. Picture a Saturday with lots of people in the store. I just don't see this working. And you're going to have the registers backed up with people just waiting around for items to be unlocked and brought up. Yeah, just the physical, how you physically do it is just absolutely beyond me. And maybe you're going to have some people who just say, okay, well, I'm going to stand around. I'm going to wait for my toothpaste. I'm going to wait for the deodorant to come up. But I think for more and more people, it's just going to be another excuse to say, okay, I know what brand I want. Here, I need some shaving cream. I need some Irish Spring soap. I want some toothpaste. Boom, I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm going to be able to get a competitive price, and they're going to deliver it to me tomorrow. Now, I'm not going to get it tonight, but I'm going to get it tomorrow. And for most of us, that's going to be soon enough. Can you imagine this? And look, I'm not faulting the stores necessarily, because this is like their Hail Mary. This is their desperate attempt to try to stay open because they're being robbed from so much. So what is the, what does this really tell you? Well, maybe, just maybe, we need to crack down on the thieves, right? If there wasn't so many people getting away with stealing so much, the rest of us and the retailers wouldn't have to be punished in this fashion. Dan in Kenosha. Dan, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Yeah, I agree. These are commodities, and especially if it's a store you frequent, you know exactly where to go, and you're in and out. So when you think of an analogy with when you go to the airport and you print your own baggage tags, I'm just now getting to where it's kind of routine,
right,
and not really surprises. But, I mean, I go to a rental car counter and they say use the kiosk, and I'm ready to throw it, in the parking lot, right, because you need to talk to a person. So
right, and at least but to your point, Dan, also okay. So when you're at the airport and you're printing your baggage tags, at least it's one transaction. You put in your confirmation number, and boom, you get it, and you put your bag tags around. Can you imagine that you're in a Walgreens or a Target or a retailer, and you're buying 10 or 15 things? When you have to do this every time you want to make a purchase. It's not going to happen.
So many key punches, right? And then I very much plan. I do all the grocery shopping, but even the best laid plans, it's fluid, it's adjusting, and I'm not going to do that in front of a kiosk. So.
Yeah, right. No, I'm with. No, thanks for the call. I'm not criticizing, and I want to be clear here. I'm not criticizing the retailer for this particular decision. They don't have any choice. They're trying to figure out a way to stay afloat, and they're getting robbed so much and stolen from so much that this is what they have to do. And so everybody has to suffer. So maybe let's bring it around to where we started this half hour with consequences. Why do we have a system that allows people to steal from stores with impunity and get away from and avoid any significant consequences? So the result is everybody else has to suffer. Or in my argument is, I just think a lot of people aren't going to flat out do it. They're going to look for alternatives, period. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner. Wisconsin's Morning News.
I posted a picture of my lawn, and this guy lost his mind.
Join Vince Vetrano every weekday starting at 5 a.m.
I just don't get this whole thing about why you got to poke at people. And not even about this issue, whatever it is. The Twitter troll who's just there, poke. The next person who changes their mind based on something they read in a response to a tweet or Facebook will be the first.
Only here on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
Would you trust a part-time dentist? then why would you trust a part-time fiduciary? Some financial professionals say they're a fiduciary, and they are, part-time. The other portion of the time they're interacting with you, they might be serving other interests. Do yourself a favor. Ask your financial professional if they're a fiduciary all the time. Annex Wealth Management is. Drill down into your finances with the full-time fiduciary team at Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Spas! The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is this weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Millions of inventory must be sold. Prices are slashed up to 60% off retail, so save thousands. Save big on new hot tub spas and saunas. Plus, see the Michael Phelps Signature Swim Spas by Master Spas.
Hi, I'm Michael Phelps. Join the swimming revolution.
The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show this weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Park Cream Puff Pavilion. Visit 800spasale.com.
Advent founder Dr. Madan Kandula.
If you were formerly breathing properly and we just plugged your nose up, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it for a few minutes. You're not going to like it for an hour. You wouldn't stand it for a day. If we're talking weeks, you're going to be clawing at the walls to get that thing off. And if we're talking months to years to decades, many of our patients are basically walking around with clothespins on their nose and they don't know any difference. They've never experienced what life is supposed to be like when you breathe properly, and so for them, they feel like it's normal. It should be no surprise that many of the folks that we treat have downstream conditions. So if somebody's nose isn't working properly, if somebody's throat isn't working properly, they're not breathing properly. And when you don't breathe properly, it creates problems for your body.
When you breathe well, you live better. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment today.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
We have a lot of people who are watching us on the stream right now. So I'm glad I got the thumbs up from my wife. I said, well, she said, actually, that looks pretty good. You know, she said, I said, yeah, I'm learning my lesson and stuff. So if you want to see what we look like here at WTMJ while we're doing spoken word radio, all you have to do is go to either the YouTube channel and look at WTMJ or go to WTMJ.com and hit the Watch Live button. It's kind of a fun complement to our Listen Live and all the different ways that you can get our content as we move forward. A lot of great stuff coming up on the program. Don't go anywhere. Right now, though, it's 1:32 p.m. And from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here's Connie Weber.
Thanks, Jeff. A Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputy recovering from minor injuries after she was dragged by the driver of a stolen vehicle during a traffic stop this morning. Happened near Lakefront downtown. The driver still on the run. Customs and Border Patrol says medical personnel at a border facility treated a child's high fever but did not send her to a hospital. And a nurse practitioner reportedly denied multiple requests by the child's mother for an ambulance. That child died while in Border Patrol custody in Texas last month. Ford Motor Company recalling about 140,000 SUVs over an electrical issue that's causing car fires. Owners of a 2015 to 2019 Lincoln MKC being urged to park outside and away from buildings until that defect is fixed. Recall notices are being sent to owners. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow Jones Industrial is now up over 700 points, up 706. S&P 500 is up 63 and the NASDAQ Composite is up 140. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. 94 westbound from downtown to the zoo, about a 5-minute drive, but the zoo to Highway 16, still some delays there, about 14 minutes. 4145 southbound from Highway Q to the zoo interchange, about 14 minutes, and 43 northbound from the Marquette interchange to Brown Deer Road, running about 10 minutes this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
While you're navigating the roads as quickly and safely as possible, if you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Mazda Traffic Tip Line at 414-238-9329.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, partly cloudy today, maybe a pop-up shower or thunderstorm this afternoon. Highs 82 to 90, overnight lows tonight 62. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs 80 to 86. Sunday and Monday, partly cloudy with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms. Highs Sunday 75 to 84 inland. Monday's high 75. Then Tuesday, partly cloudy and breezy with a high of 70. Beloit right now 88 degrees, 81 in Cedarburg and Milwaukee. We're at 76. I'm Connie Weber, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 1:35.
I'm Jeff Wagner. Coming up next, okay, you've dug yourself a hole. Now, how do you get out? We'll discuss.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Doesn't it seem like you never have anything to wear? That's why I shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. Whether it's a designer top, jeans, an adorable skirt, or cute accessories, I always seem to find something I like. And at prices I love. Gently used women's clothing and accessories for far less than you thought possible. At St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield and 23rd in Lincoln in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Get fired up for your next adventure to the Island Resort and Casino. Recharge at the Drift Spa and enjoy a delicious dinner afterward. Get in on the action of your favorite slots and table games, followed by live music. And golfers know you can always bet on green. Sweetgrass and Sage Run, 36 holes of award-winning golf, some of the finest in the Midwest. So many ways to have fun. Experience more at the Island Resort and Casino.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi for Omaha Steaks. Easy way to make your father happy? OmahaSteaks.com. Pick out a great gift for your father right now. $30 off when you visit OmahaSteaks.com and use promo code WTMJ at checkout. There's no shopping, no wrapping, and the steaks are delivered right to your dad's door. I've done this for my son-in-laws. I've done this for my fathers. Easy way to say thanks, Dad, for all the things you do for me. Dads are the heroes we love. You know this. Whether they're fathers, stepfathers, fathers-in-law, father figures, always ready to step up when we need them most. For Father's Day, we're listening to what real dads have to say. $30 off when you visit OmahaSteaks.com. Use promo code WTMJ at checkout. Some heroes wear capes, others use tool belts, some even wear socks with sandals. No matter how your dad dresses, show him some love this year with the only gift that's as unforgettable as he is. OmahaSteaks.com. $30 off when you visit OmahaSteaks.com. Use promo code WTMJ at checkout. Minimum order may be required.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
All right, now here is a good way to end the week. Charlie, you might not have to work till you're 90 years old. Stock market up big today, like Connie was talking about. Let me pull the most recent numbers. Kind of hit refresh here. The Dow Jones Industrial, and it's actually been a pretty decent week. Yesterday the numbers were up pretty big. Today the Dow Jones is up 2.17%. That translates into over 700 points. The NASDAQ, which is mostly tech stocks, that's up over 1%, which translates into it's up 143 points. The S&P 500 is up 1.5%. That is a big number as well. That's up 64 points. What is going on is there's two things that happened. First of all, the jobs report came in this morning, and it showed that hiring was up 339,000 new jobs were created in May. And so I think a lot of people were afraid that we were heading into a recession, and we still might be looking at that. But the strong hiring, I think, convinced a lot of people that no, maybe, employers are still hiring people and stuff. Maybe we're going to avoid a recession. The other thing that's going on, has been going on for the last day or two, is that you did have this compromise agreement where the United States was able to raise the debt ceiling and avoid default. And if you've been listening over the last couple days, I always make the point that politics is the art of the possible. And the truth is we have divided government. You have a Democrat who is the president. You have the Senate, which is controlled by Democrats. You have the House of Representatives, which is narrowly controlled by Republicans. And so as a result, there needs to be compromise. Joe Biden originally said he wasn't going to negotiate at all on this debt ceiling thing. But at the same time, that was never serious because You can't allow the U.S. government to default. You can't allow the government to not be able to borrow enough to meet its obligations. At the same time, I appreciate also that the reason we are in this mess with regard to debt is because we just spend in a way that would be an embarrassment to drunken sailors. So I get the fact that you have Republicans who want to, all right, yes, we'll raise the debt ceiling, but only if we get substantial cuts. You have Democrats who want to increase taxes. Let's tax and spend more. And there's always going to be this tension there. Well, in exchange for raising the debt ceiling, Republicans got a number of, I think, significant concessions. Did they get everything they wanted? No, of course not. But that was never going to happen. But they got a lot of stuff that I think is going to be valuable. Should it have been more? Fine. Yeah, that's an argument. That's an argument you have when this issue comes up again in early 2025 after the next round of elections. But does it kick the cat down the road a little bit? Yes, it does. I understand that. But the alternative is to say, okay, we're going to go to the brink and we're not going to sign off on this deal and we're going to let the country not be able to pay its obligations, something which I think is just unthinkable. And so you had broad bipartisan support for this in the House of Representatives. You had 5 Republicans from Wisconsin who voted in favor of it. You have the 2 Democrats, Pocan out of Madison and Gwen, I'll have another lobster more. They voted no. So they bailed on Biden to vote no. Ron Johnson voted no in the Senate. Bottom line is there was enough of a middle ground to get this thing done. Is it perfect? No. But it's definitely one of the reasons why the stock market is up big right now together with the report. And I think that is a very good thing. Okay. One of the big economic stories, as long as we were talking about retailers, one of the things that's gone on over the last month or two has been, I don't know if it's the revenge of the anti-woke shoppers or however you want to talk about it. What, a month or two ago, Bud Light, for reasons that to me continue to escape understanding, decided that, well, you know, we don't like the fact that we've got all these old rednecks who are drinking our products. So what we want to do is we want to reach out to a new generation. I get that. So what we're going to do is we're going to, create this promotion with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. And, we're going to send him, pictures of her. We're going to send her pictures of herself on this beer can. And, we're going to hope that she talks about our product. Well, I mean, it worked, but what they did is they alienated a lot of the hardcore Bud Light drinkers. Now, you can argue that this shouldn't have happened, but it did. And Bud Light did not anticipate this. And as a result, well, just to give you an idea, let me just pull out the most current numbers I have. Sales of Bud Light are down 30% year to year. And this issue with Budweiser's not going away. Anheuser-Busch InBev, the company that owns Bud Light, etc., their stock is down over 16% in just the last month. I mean, it's going down and it's not stopping. In contrast, like the S&P 500 is up about 10%. So Budweiser, the stock, the company that owns it, is going down. Target now finds itself in the same sort of situation. This is, of course, June. June is Pride Month. Target comes out with all sorts of pride-related themes, which is all well and good. It creates a backlash among some pride shoppers. And then Target, once they put out the merchandise, then they get the backlash, and the response is, okay, well, we're going to now move some of the stuff that we've had in some of our stores. We're going to bury it in the back, or we're going to pull it off the shelves. So first you antagonize the customers who don't like the fact that you got the Pride stuff there. Then you antagonize the people who support that because now you've moved it. So you've managed to alienate just about everybody on both sides of the issue. The Target stock for the month of May is down almost 20%. And again, it's a backlash. Now, the Target's getting whipsawed because, like I say, you've got the people who didn't like the merchandise choice to begin with, and then you've got the people who are upset that Target, quote unquote, gave in to some of the people who didn't like the merchandise choice in the first place. So, regardless, so now you've alienated people on both sides of the issue. Bud Light, I don't know if they've alienated people on both sides of the issue, but they're in a situation where, people, I don't know if it's fair to say a boycott, but people are making a decision that, hey, we're not going to buy Bud Light. I saw for Memorial Day last week, in some places, they had a special. And it essentially, you could get like a 15-pack of Bud Light for free, because what they would do is you had a coupon that would give you $15 back on the purchase, and the 12 packs and the 15 packs didn't cost $15, or if they did, they cost slightly more. You could get it for almost free, but that's what they were trying to do to get customers back. I am not so much interested in how this developed. Is it right? Was it right to use the transgender influencer or not? Or was Target right to put the pride stuff in the front of the store? Those are decisions that they made. I think they're surprised at the backlash, and then surprised at the backlash to their response to the backlash. But to me, the interesting thing is, as we sit here on June 2nd, what do they need to do moving forward? Our number is 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. If you are Budweiser, and Bud Light is a big brand, what do you do to reverse this trend? If you are Target, and you're saying, okay, my gosh, our stock is down 20%, we continue to be in the news, we now suddenly find ourselves in the middle of this gender-based, sexual orientation-based controversy, when all we really want to do is we want to sell stuff to people. That's our business. We want to sell Bud Light. We want you to come into Target and buy clothes here. We don't want to be in the middle of this. We don't want to be alienating anybody. What do you do if you're Target, if you're Bud Light? How do you dig yourself out of this hole that you find yourself in? 855-616-1620. We discuss in a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Hey, former radio wake-up guy Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. If that recent cold snap made you think that now is the time to replace those drafty old windows, then now is a good time to call Hometown Windows and Doors. Save heating costs now, cooling dollars down the road with energy-efficient replacement windows and doors from Hometown. Hometown offers the brands you trust like Anderson, Pella, Marvin, Softlight, and more in wood, vinyl, and fiberglass. And all of their products are installed by employee carpenters. Plus, Hometown is the area's only Pella Platinum and Marvin authorized replacement company. Hometown's dedicated consultants can guide you to the best fit and value for your home and your remodeling dollar. Stop in at their newly remodeled showroom in New Berlin and see the Hometown difference for yourself. Or call them for a no-pressure in-home consultation, 414-329-1200, or visit them at hometownwindows.com. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need.
The freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 6 to 10.75 ounce Doritos, 8 ounce Munchies, or 6.25 to 7 ounce Sun Chips. Frito-Lay, Doritos, Tortilla Chips, Munchies, or Sun Chips, 2 for $7. 8 to 13.5 ounce package Hostess multi-pack snack cakes, 2 for $6. 40 to 100 count package Vanity Fair napkins, 2 for $5. 16 ounce ice cream or 10.6 to 18 ounce bars or pops, Halo Top ice cream, fruit, Kato, fudge bars, or pops, 2 for $8.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take them out at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience from Century Foods. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 26th.
Humans can do a lot of amazing things. Fighting bugs isn't one of them. STEM is powered by active ingredients found in plants to fight off bugs safely and effectively. Use as directed. STEM, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at accunet.com.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right?
Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
There's an interesting story on Fox News about how a lot of the people who actually, the rank and file workers at Target, are extremely upset with their management. Now Target is a very liberal company who's had very liberal policies over the years, but they're like, hey, we're the ones that are on the front line of this stuff, and we don't get to be the decision makers, and none of us saw anything coming. So now we're in the middle of this because, again, you have the one group of customers who comes in and they're upset that there's all the Pride stuff that's in the front. Then you got the other group of customers who then come in and they're upset that the Pride stuff that was in the front has now been moved into the bank or back or pulled from the aisles, and it's the poor employees who are in the middle of all this. But I guess my question is, moving forward, with your Target or Bud Light or any of these other companies that find themselves caught up in the backlash, what understanding that at the end of the day, your goal, if you're Budweiser, your goal is to sell beer. If you're Target, your goal is to sell the stuff that Target sells, and you want to sell to the LGBTQ community, and you want to sell to people who don't identify with the you want the color to be green. What do you do now that you find yourself in this mess? 855-616-1620. How do you deal with this? Let's talk to Joe in Appleton. Joe, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for taking the call. Great topic. Really appreciate it. So obviously we have a number of companies going through this, but my comment specifically is in regards to Bud Light and my idea on how they might recover. So I think the most logical path for them would be to take the Bud Light can and dress it up like a Miller Lite and then just claim it's a Miller Lite.
just try to pass it off as Miller Lite. Well, no, I think the thing to me is I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Bud Light didn't see this coming. I think what they're doing now, stuff blows over. That's the truth of it. From the perspective of Bud Light, what you're seeing now is you're seeing a lot of the advertising and the emphasis. It's moving away from these social issues. Again, I don't care where you are on the social issue thing, but now it's more like, okay, we're sending money, we're supporting veterans groups. We're getting away from this. The advertising. We're going to come out with the military cans and things like that, and just hope to weather this storm. Which my sense is yes. Although I will tell you, I'm not a Bud Light drinker. I mean, when I'm drinking light beer, I'm drinking Miller Lite for a variety of reasons. But I mean, I have a number of friends who are dyed-in-the-wool. I've told this story before. Dyed-in-the-wool Bud Light drinkers, and they're still drinking Bud Light because they like it better than the other forms of light beer. But at the same time, and I probably have at least a half a dozen texts that I've looked at in the last 60 seconds for people who said, hey, they were dyed-in-the-wool Bud Light drinkers too, and they're not going back. Well, I find it hard to believe that they're not going to go back. I think this is one where time heals wounds, and I think if, from the perspective of Bud Light, if they just, again, move their marketing away from this particular social issue, which isn't saying they have to come down on one side or the other, move it away, focus on some of the traditional stuff, recognize who their base is, and then go back. I think that they're going to get a lot of those people back. The same thing, Target, I guess I look at it and I think that maybe maybe time heals all wounds. This is, June is, of course, Gay Pride Month. So this issue is going to be out there for all of June. But, at the end of June, presumably a lot of this stuff, which is just like you bring the Christmas stuff in after the Christmas season, just like you bring the Halloween stuff in after the Halloween season. And I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not likening the Pride Month to Halloween. I'm just saying this is a special thing built around the Pride Month, and I'm not saying that they should discontinue the merchandise and stuff, but it's not going to be featured as prominently at other parts of the year. So I think some of this stuff will probably die down. And from the perspective of Target, if you're a Target shopper, my guess is, regardless of how you feel about this issue, you're going to go back and you're going to continue to patronize Target. Could be wrong, but I think this is more of a short-term thing than a long-term thing. Jeff, my parents owned a restaurant a long time ago, and I worked with them. Even back then, my parents always reminded me not to talk about politics and or religion. I'm a successful salesman. I've always adhered to this advice because the truth is that you will always alienate someone. Jeff, I think Bud Light did not know their market and made a big blunder. They did not apologize and did not fire those responsible. That's not true. I think the advertising executive who ended up making the decision, she's been put on a leave of absence. It's a major league deal, and I understand it's a tempest, but we'll mark the tape. We'll mark the tape because my guess is 3 or 4 months from now, this dispute will have largely blown over. My guess is that Target's year-to-year sales are going to be back where they were, because if people like to shop at Target, they're still going to be attracted and go to Target. Similarly, it's a little bit different with beer preferences, because if you stop drinking Bud Light and maybe you switch over to Coors Light or you switch over to Miller Lite or something, or one of the other light beers, you might go in there and you might say, I kind of like this, so maybe there's not as much of a desire to go back. But I largely believe a lot of this will blow over. So if I were giving advice on Budweiser or Target as to how to just get this past them, my advice would be, time has a way of healing all sorts of things, and I think that's going to happen here. And we'll check back, look at the stock price, look at the sales a few months from now, and see if I'm right or wrong. Back with lots more. We've got a great 2 o'clock hour coming up, including it's the newest trend for people in their homes. I just flat out do not get it. I will explain. We will discuss. That's coming up right after the top of the hour news.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.
Every hour. We have breaking news this morning. Crews remain on scene of a large fire in West Dallas. It's near Wolmer and Wildwood.
Every day.
Milwaukee police are asking the public for help finding the driver involved in a hit and run over the weekend.
The news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
One alderman renewing the call for Brady Street to be entirely closed off to cars.
The WTMJ Breaking News Center has you covered.
Pride Month begins this week, and Milwaukee Pride Fest returns to the lakefront this weekend.
News Radio WTMJ.
A wiser way to build your wealth.
While going over a new client's statements from one of the big financial firms, I was floored when I read that firm does not offer tax or estate planning advice. Because we know that saving money for our clients on their taxes, legally and well within the law, can make a huge difference in their financial plan. If you want to wisely build your wealth, it is my firm opinion that without a comprehensive approach, you're going to be at a big disadvantage. At Financial Strategies, Inc., we're taking a deep dive and creating comprehensive strategies that develop your retirement, investment, and your tax and estate planning. And all under a fee-only structure that means the success we care about most is yours. I'm Jim Cantrell, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to FinancialStrategiesInc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend only to the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% off retail. This weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion.
Backed by popular demand, head to the HD Museum campus Thursday, June 1st through Sunday, June 4th for the HD Factory Outlet Summer Sale on discontinued Harley-Davidson motor clothes, merchandise, and select officially licensed products. Don't miss this chance to shop over 4,000 items, including t-shirts, sweatshirts, outerwear, hats, gloves, leather jackets, and so much more. While supplies last, the HD Factory Outlet at the Harley-Davidson Museum is your destination for discontinued HD merchandise.
An official message from Medicare. Don't let preventable diseases stop you from doing the things you love. Medicare Part D now covers all recommended vaccines, like tetanus and shingles, at no cost to you. That means you don't have to stop whipping up your favorite recipes or dusting off your guitar to show that rock stars never get old. Talk to your doctor about which vaccines are right for you so you can keep doing the things you love. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Your first night camping alone. The new tent, fully set up. Your bug spray, barely keeping up. But you got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with free overdraft protection transfers. So when you bought all those supplies and lost track of your spending, we had you covered. You got this with free overdraft protection transfers from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Get up, get out, get over here, go! It's the Grand Slam giveaway at Potawatomi. This June, play with your club card and you'll have 4 chances to hit big and slide into home with a share of the show-stopping $400,000 in cash and prizes. 50 winners each Thursday. Step up and knock your luck out of the park. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. More info at paysbig.com/Grand Slam. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Social Security benefits denied? Contact Tayback for the payback. Go to taybackattorneys.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Oh, look, you aren't the worst in the NL Central. For now.
Line down the right field line. This is up and it is gone. Abraham Toro.
The Brewers are in Cincinnati with coverage starting this afternoon at 3:35 on News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
201, we have 76 degrees, partly cloudy today, maybe a shower or thunderstorm inland, highs 82 to 90. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. A Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputy recovering from minor injuries after she was dragged by the driver of a stolen vehicle this morning during a traffic stop near the Lake Park North Point parking lot. TMJ4's Bruce Harrison has more from near Bradford Beach.
The sheriff's office says that a deputy was making a traffic stop, and the driver of a stolen car then drove away, dragging that deputy, and she was scraped up and bruised a bit.
UWM police later located the fleeing vehicle abandoned in an alley near Providence and Cambridge. They arrested a male passenger and recovered a firearm from the vehicle. The driver, though, remains at large. Nobody hurt when a couple of Milwaukee County Sheriff's patrol cars crashed during a pursuit near Lake and Jarvis last night. One of those cars ended up in a home in Shorewood. It happened when they terminated the chase and hit each other. The collision then sent one of the cars into a home. Authorities in Mexico, who've been looking for 8 young people who went missing last week, say they have found dozens of bags containing human remains.
The state prosecutor's office in Jalisco says 45 bags of human remains were found this week below a forest overlook. Rescue teams are using a helicopter to recover the remains. The discovery coming as a search has been underway for 8 young people. It's unknown if the remains of the 8 are at the site. Families have been told by prosecutors some of the remains do match characteristics of the missing. There are over 110,000 missing people in Mexico, and Jalisco is a state with the highest number, around 15,000. Alex Stone, ABC News.
In the Gulf of Mexico, it's the first named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season.
Tropical storm Arlene formed in the Gulf of Mexico, about 265 miles west of Fort Myers, Florida. The storm is heading south towards Cuba, but could fall apart before it reaches land. There are no watches or warnings posted for Cuba or Florida. Those areas were impacted by some of last year's 14 named storms, especially Hurricanes Ian and Nicole. Forecasters say this hurricane season, which officially began Thursday, should be near normal. That means anywhere from 12 to 17 named storms. Brian Clark, ABC News.
On 94, there'll be a closure this weekend, but it's not for construction.
It's the annual UPAF Ride for the Arts that'll be closing down 794 this Sunday from 6 a.m. to 11. The closure will be between Plankington and Pennsylvania Avenue. The fundraiser's 20-mile loop actually starts at Lincoln Memorial Drive and will stretch over the Hone all the way down to Edgerton before turning back and ending back at Lincoln Memorial Drive. Just a reminder, you must have an access pass to enter the course. And for drivers, just follow the posted detours to get around. Debbie Lazaga, WTMJ News.
Sports traffic and weather are next. Signing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 2:04.
Thrifters can spot great deals from a mile away. And here the term great deal is an understatement. The lowest prices on men's, women's, and children's clothing. Toys, furniture, housewares, jewelry, and accessories. Bikes, books, games, and more. And every time you're here, you'll find something new. So if you're thrifty, you'll find this place is pretty nifty. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores, Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
While the warm weather has you feeling like new, get old with a money market account from Old National Bank and earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield. Whether you're saving up for something big or just for a rainy day, Old National is here for you. Earn 5.00% APY with our limited time 12-month introductory money market offer. To earn the promotional rate, account must be funded with a minimum of $10,000 not on deposit at Old National as of April 14th, 2023. Learn more at oldnational.com or visit a local banking center today. Offer not available online. Member FDIC. Old National Bank. Get old.
If mom or dad aren't comfortable with assisted living, now's the time to have their home equipped to accommodate their needs. There's a huge customer appreciation sale going on at Miller Mobility June 9th and 10th. Save on stair lifts, ramps, scooters, lift chairs, bathroom safety, and more. Miller Mobility can equip any home to accommodate everything a senior needs without moving into an assisted living facility. Mention this ad and save an additional 10%. See their huge showroom in Oconomowoc or visit millermobility.com.
To be made in the image of God, Father, Son, and Spirit is to be made to be in relationships of love, loved first and foremost by the God of love, in order to love one another with a rightly ordered love.
Hear guest speaker Pastor John Nunes in a message titled, It's All Good Even When It's Not, this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WTMJ.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
After dropping 2 of 3 against the Blue Jays in Toronto, the Brewers' 7-game road trip continues tonight in Cincinnati with Game 1 of a 4-game series. Coverage gets underway at 3:35 on WTMJ. Early start is due to the Zach Brown Band concert following tonight's game. Milwaukee begins today 1/2 game ahead of the Pittsburgh Pirates for first place in the NL Central. Packers offensive lineman David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins among the veterans at Block 2 of organized team activities for the Packers. That wraps up today. Block 3 begins June 5th. And the Miami Heat could have Whitnall High School product Tyler Hero available for Game 2 of the NBA Finals against the Denver Nuggets. Hero suffered a hand injury during Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Bucks. The Nuggets own a 1-0 series lead. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads now with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Have a couple of slow spots that popped up in the last half hour or so. One of those is 94 northbound from Ryan to Layton. Usually that's about a 6-minute drive. It's about twice that long right now. And 43 southbound from Brown Deer Road to downtown. That's going to take you about 14 minutes this hour.
Traffic is sponsored by Harwood Place Senior Living. Learn more about Harwood Place Retirement Living's newly renovated apartments and updated pricing options. Visit harwoodplace.org or call to schedule a tour.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, mostly sunny to partly cloudy, well inland, where we'll find a pop-up shower or thunderstorm this afternoon and early evening. Otherwise, a very warm day with high temperatures in the 80s, near 90 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the 60s. Saturday, mix of sun and clouds, around 80 by the lakeshore, mid-80s inland. Sunday, slight chance for a shower or a storm, but I wouldn't count on it. Otherwise, partly cloudy, highs near the lake in the mid-70s, mid-80s inland. Monday, a front will come through, a little better chance for a few showers or storms, but doesn't look like a widespread soaking rain like we could use. 75 for a high temperature on Monday. Tuesday, cooler behind that front, partly cloudy, breezy with a high of 70. I'm meteorologist Kristen Kershane with the Storm Team forecast on WTMJ.
Madison 86, Green Bay 88, Milwaukee 75. I'm Connie Weber, citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 209.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome back to the show. Like I've been saying, we now live stream the program as well. You can go to WTMJ.com and just click on the Watch Live button as well as the Listen Live button. And one of the things we can do is every Friday, Pop Culture Corner, which comes along at 2:30, sponsored by Palermo's Pizza. And the cool thing we give away is this great Palermo's Pizza cutter. And there, I'm showing it up. That's what it is. The only way you can get this, as near as I can tell, the only way that you can get this is by, I don't know, knowing somebody at Palermo's or winning it through Pop Culture Corner, because I can't even get one of these things. I have to, this is the one that we have upstairs, and I get to borrow it, but I don't even get to take it home. How is that fair? But somebody's going to get this, as well as the rest of our Palermo's prize package coming up after the bottom of the hour. A number of people are continuing to text me, so I feel I've actually... I have performed a public service this afternoon because if you follow me on Twitter, it's at Jeff Wagner 620. I've got a link to the new listing, which is out by the Wisconsin Department of Revenue for unclaimed property. So if you have, I don't know, a tax refund that you haven't picked up or something like that, there is just a ton of money that is out there. And there's all these people who maybe you moved and they couldn't reach you or, whatever, but there's $600 million being held for people. And the easiest way to do it is they've got this like locator. You go there, you put in your name and information, and you can find out whether or not you might be the winner. Just had somebody text me, say that they went to the site and found that they had three, not one, not two, but three separate claims. So, all right, they're a little bit wealthier because they listened to the Wagner program this afternoon. That's what we try to do a public service. Okay, before Pop Culture Corner, I have two topics that I want to discuss with you. So we're going to do this briefly. Yesterday, one of the stories that was out there is that Joe Biden, who is 80 years old, if he is reelected, he will be 82 at the time he takes office. I have made this argument that I want younger candidates. I don't care what your politics are. We should be able to find whippersnappers in their 60s who can run for president. So Joe Biden, who is clearly slowing down, and I don't care where you are on the political spectrum, he's 80 years old, and he might be in great shape for an 80-year-old, but he's 80 years old. And the idea that if he was reelected and he would be 86 if he completed his term, I think that should be scary to a lot of people. I mean, he might be great for an 80-year-old, but he's slowing down. That is just the reality. Human beings, we don't age like fine wine. So anyhow, Joe Biden's giving a speech at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Gets done with his speech. He goes to walk over, and you've probably seen this because the thing's gone viral, and he trips, and he goes down hard. I mean, he said he tripped over a sandbag or something, but he goes down hard. And if you watch this, it wasn't so much like the going down hard. It was like, okay, people are rushing to help him get up. This is the third public fall that he has had since the beginning of the year. Now, thankfully, he wasn't injured. When I saw him first go down, I'm thinking, President Kamala Harris, give me a break. That's what I first thought. But, he tripped and he fell. If you will remember, I believe it was the last year of the Trump administration. Trump was getting off an airplane. I think it was Air Force One, and it was raining and it was slippery, and he's holding on to the handrails, and he's going down really, really slowly because, well, you don't want to trip and fall. And that became this object of all sorts of, people were making fun of it. Look how slow he's going down this, etc. But he didn't fall, on his keister. Biden does. So he trips and falls on his stage. Now, it's interesting to me because you've got a lot of the mainstream media, which is nothing to see here. It just happened. It can happen to anybody, and it does. Now, of course, this is the same mainstream media that just mercilessly ridiculed Donald Trump when he slips a little bit as he's coming down wet stairs when he is the president. Our number is 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. All right, here is my question. Biden trips and falls. Third public fall, like I say, this year. Not injured. It can clearly happen to anybody. All right. Is this a story, or is this just, well, it can happen to anybody. People trip and fall all the time. Is there any weight to be given to this? 855-616-1620. We discuss in just a moment.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Brewers fans, it's me, Dom Catronio, host of Brewers Extra Innings, here to tell you that you can now catch Brewers Extra Innings wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, and of course, WTMJ.com and the WTMJ mobile app. Every stat, every storyline, and of course, highlights from the games this season following the Brewers all year long. Catch Brewers Extra Innings, presented by Fifth Third Bank, right here on the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Jeff Wagner, here to tell you about Built Right Furniture's Memorial Day mattress sale, which has been extended. Shop the most unique selection with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Built Right always saves you money. Don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employed-to-be with family. When you get there, do us both a favor. Tell them WTMJ's Jeff Wagner sent you to locally and family-owned Built Right, 5430 West Layton Avenue. They're located in Greenfield.
Experience fast, affordable family fun at Elkhart Lakes Road America. With on-site camping, free parking, and free admission for kids 16 and younger, Road America offers world-class racing and so much more. From NASCAR to Indy to off-road UTV riding. You can even host your next company picnic or family reunion. Get the full race schedule at roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com. Or call 800-365-7223. Road America, America's National Park of Speed.
Here's to the farm and fleet dads, the ones who work hard and get the job done right, the ones who take pride in what they do and take the time to pass it on. This Father's Day, get your dad a gift he'll love, like half off a 26-piece Performance Tool color-coded screwdriver set with rack. Save $100 on 192-piece DeWalt Mechanics tool set, a 6-foot Werner fiberglass stepladder, $119.99, and 16 packs of Energizer AA or AAA batteries, just $10.99.
Find value at Brains Farm and Fleet.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Hey, we have another winner. One of our texters says, thanks for the access to the Department of Revenue site. It's not much, but I got $125 bucks back. Thanks again. Absolutely. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, the State Department of Revenue is out with their new unclaimed property list, $600 million sitting around, and it's like tax refunds, for example, that maybe you moved and you haven't claimed, etc. So it's really easy. There's a searchable database that you can go in, you can put in your name, and then it'll show whether or not you've got money coming back. So I don't, but a number of our listeners are checking this out. It's run through the Department of Revenue. If you want the easiest way to get to it, just follow me on Twitter. It's at Jeff Wagner 620. I've got a link to a story that Fox 6 did that's got a link to that. But you just put in your name and, hey, $125. It's $125 more than you started this show with. Gotta love it. Okay, 855-616-1620. We're only going to do this for a minute because then I want to switch to something else. But Joe Biden takes a hard fall yesterday on the stage at the Air Force Academy. He tripped over a sandbag. He went down hard. Not necessarily a good look. The question is, does this mean anything? Is there anything that you draw from this? One of our texters says, remember when President Ford took a fall down the stairs of Air Force One? It was a staple of Saturday Night Live forever. I'm sure this last presidential trip will be the same. I kind of doubt that. Yeah, the interesting thing was, if you're old enough to remember, when Gerald Ford, and this is how the media creates things, Gerald Ford, who, by the way, took over. He was the vice president after Spiro Agnew was forced to resign, and then he became the president when Richard Nixon resigned, ran for re-election, lost to Jimmy Carter, who was a one-term president before Ronald Reagan. But the mainstream media was just brutal on Gerald Ford because they had a couple like slips and stuff. Gerald Ford was an All-American football player at Michigan. Gerald Ford was arguably one of the best athletes to ever be in the Oval Office, but he got mocked as being uncoordinated and things like that. I doubt we're going to see too much of the Biden fall on Saturday night. on Saturday Night Live. I think it's just one of these things that's I think it's one of these things that's going to be swept under the rug. One of our texters says it can happen to anyone. Yeah, it can. I guess, see, here is my take on this, and I've argued this before. I hope that when people are going to cast their votes in a year from November, I want to see different choices. I firmly believe, regardless of what your politics are, I believe that Joe Biden is too old to be the president of the United States. I do. Donald Trump, and I'm not a Trumper. Trump is 78 years old, would be 78. I think that that's too old. I think you need younger people. When I saw the president go down like that, my first concern was he seriously hurt himself. And look, and I understand, you can seriously hurt yourself in a fall when you're like 25 or you're 30 years old. But the truth of the matter is, when you're 80 years old and you take a hard fall like that, the chances of you seriously injuring yourself are just much, much greater. And in all honesty, when he went down, that's all I was thinking of. Oh my gosh, if he's really hurt himself, you got Kamala Harris, for goodness sakes, who's going to take over. That was, I think, the reaction. It was a reminder, and again, I understand that people can fall all the time, but it was a reminder of, I think, the consequences that happen when you have elected officials who are clearly hanging on past what I would argue would be their sell-by date. I've got a topic worked up, maybe we'll do it next week, maybe not, on Dianne Feinstein, who's come back to the Senate, and she's just, everybody, I think, acknowledges that she's not capable of doing this job anymore. She's had a distinguished career, but she's hanging on. She's in a wheelchair. She's protected by aides who apparently she has trouble tracking stuff, so she's got all the aides that are reminding her of things. And you have this happen with Republicans as well. So this really isn't it's not a partisan sort of thing. It's you have these people who hang on well past when they should. And I hope, I just hope that, people realize this. And candidly, I mean, Joe Biden, I frankly, I always wonder what it is. Is it the ego? Is it the power? What is it that makes you be unable to walk away and say, hey, I've had a really distinguished career. I've been a senator, and I've been the vice president. I've been the president, and now I'm 81 years old, or I'll be 82 years old, and I don't know how much time I have left, but maybe I want to enjoy the rest of the time I have without worrying about being the leader of the free world. It's always interesting to me, and again, in a nonpartisan fashion, the ego that some of these people have to think that I'm the only one who can end up doing it. But, watching him take that hard fall yesterday reminded me, at least my takeaway was, glad he got up. But, we need to have younger people, period. All right. I promised you this story, and it's the latest trend that I do not get. And if you're watching us, this is today's Wall Street Journal. See, this demonstrates that we really are doing this live. This is this morning's Wall Street Journal. For years and years, people at their homes have been putting in hot tubs and things like that, or saunas, perhaps. It's not when after my treat to myself when I go to the place where I work out is, okay, I'm going to go, I'm going to sit in the sauna for 5 or 10 minutes. I just enjoy that. I like the heat. I like the hot tubs. People love hot tubs. The latest thing, they call it, look at the cold rush. The cold rush. Homeowners and luxury developers are racing to install ice baths as part of a trend to enhance home wellness spaces. There is, for example, a company called Blue Cube, and for $19,000, they will make a cold plunge pool. They start at $19,000. They can go up to like $30,000. What these are is they're exactly what they sound. They're like small bathtubs. They have them outside, and what you do is you lower the temperature of the water to somewhere below 59 degrees, most commonly like 45 or 50 degrees, really, really cold, like an ice bath. And then people jump in them, and they stay in them for as long as they possibly can. Generally speaking, only kind of like a minute or two. And then it's supposed to be reinvigorating and things like this. But this is the latest amenity. They call them cold plunges that people are putting into their homes. Our number is 855-616-1620, and we've only got a couple minutes. See, there's some things that I understand intellectually, but I wouldn't do myself. Then there's stuff like this. The idea of spending $20,000 or $30,000, or in some cases a lot more, to put in what is essentially a cold bathtub so I could jump in to freezing water for a few minutes. I just don't flat get it. 855-616-1620. I mean, I guess you could take a cold shower, but I don't need a $60,000 ice bath. Do you understand that? Do you get it? 855-616-1620. Couple calls when we come back.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner. In our experience, throwing cheese on something automatically makes it better.
It's skyline time.
But all the cheese in the world couldn't help with, whatever that is.
Now the ball gets away. Yelich is streaking home. He is in. The game is tied.
It's the Brewers and the Reds. Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts today at 3:35. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi for Omaha Steaks. Easy way to make your father happy, omahasteaks.com. Pick out a great gift for your father right now. $30 off when you visit omahasteaks.com and use promo code WTMJ at checkout. There's no shopping, no wrapping, and the steaks are delivered right to your dad's door. I've done this for my son-in-laws. I've done this for my fathers. Easy way to say thanks, Dad, for all the things you do for me. Dads are the heroes we love. You know this. Whether they're fathers, stepfathers, fathers-in-law, father figures, always ready to step up when we need them most. For Father's Day, we're listening to what real dads have to say. $30 off when you visit omahasteaks.com. Use promo code WTMJ at checkout. Some heroes wear capes, others use tool belts, some even wear socks with sandals. No matter how your dad dresses, show him some love this year with the only gift that's as unforgettable as he is. omahasteaks.com. $30 off when you visit omahasteaks.com. Use promo code WTMJ at checkout. Minimum order may be required.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I always thought Vince Lombardi came up with that famous sports nugget, but it turns out he borrowed it from a college coach. And now I'm going to borrow it too. Because when there are 10 or 20 offers on a property, there's only one winner. In today's inventory-starved real estate market, you need a Lombardi-level mortgage coach, one who has all the best plays in the playbook. Going with your bank for your pre-approval is like playing in a professional playoff game with the JV coach at the helm. The Lombardi-level coaches at Accunet are called senior loan consultants, and each one has been trained by me to help you and your real estate agent work as one team to deliver the one and only thing that matters, winning. So if you've been losing with your flimsy bank pre-approval, trade up today to a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and a Lombardi-level game plan. And if you're just getting started, why not start with the best? Click on the blue button today and get started with your winning game plan at ACCUNET.com.
You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
You're as cold as ice.
The average cold plunge costs, you can spend, at least in the luxury place, up to $45,000. I mean, $45,000. I mean, I guess I got a bathtub. If I really want to do it, go out, buy a bag of ice and dump it in there and stuff. $45,000. But this is the latest trend. And by the way, a number of people are texting me saying, well, this is a recovery thing for like high-end world-class athletes. And I understand that, but just for average people, do you want to jump into freezing water after you've, I don't know, done a workout? Jeremy in Bayview. Jeremy, you're on WTMJ. Hello.
Hey, Jeff. How's it going?
Good. What do you think? You've done this.
Yeah, so I went on a vacation to Asheville, and they have about 15 of these wellness spas where you kind of sit in the hot sauna for 15 minutes, you jump in a cold plunge for 3 minutes, and then you kind of socialize on like a hot bench in almost like a Roman bathhouse. And I was shocked to see one of them, but there's like 15 of them. It was amazing. And I'll say I had a few beers the night before, and I woke up not feeling 100%, and it was like game changing. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is this? And so no, when I put one in my house, no, I do have like one of those whirlpool. Right. You can just fill it up with cold water. I've done it in my own house before,
right?
After a workout, but I definitely wouldn't probably invest in one, but I would open a business with this in there because I think it is a pretty interesting trend, and there was a lot of members.
Well, interesting, Jeremy. Thanks. Now, I have a texter. One of our texters says, Jeff, do you remember the old Vic Tanny? It was a health club, Port Washington Road and Bradley Road back in the 80s. I do, in North Shore. They had this thing called the cold dip, post-workout, freezing cold water that you would jump in. I used it before the polar bear plunge to train. Someone had a heart attack in it, and they took it out. Well, I mean, that can happen, all over. One of our texters is correctly pointing out, Jeff, this brings to mind one of your sayings that this could be, if you got $45,000 to put in a cold plunge, it may be God's way of telling you that you've got too much money. Okay, but again, if that's how you choose to spend your dough, it is out there. WTMJ Breaking News Time is 2:30 p.m. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here's Connie Weber.
Thanks, Jeff. President Biden set to formally sign the debt ceiling bill after it reaches his desk. He'll also speak to the nation this evening about the bipartisan agreement passed by Congress this week. The package, of course, raises the debt limit and caps federal spending for the next 2 years. A new report says lawyers for former President Trump were unable to find a classified document he discussed in an audio recording. CNN reports in that recording obtained by the Justice Department, Trump acknowledges holding on to a classified document regarding a potential attack on Iran, but is aware of limitations with declassifying records. Wisconsin State Fair looking for workers. They'll be holding a job fair tomorrow. It's at the Expo Center from 10 until 2 p.m. tomorrow. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is still up over 700 points, 707. S&P 500 is up 64. The NASDAQ Composite is up 140. Annex Wealth Management, hit the Get Started button today. Taking a look now at your Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. Those earlier delays have cleared up. 94 westbound from downtown to the zoo, about a 5-minute drive. The zoo to Highway 16, about 10. 4145 southbound from Highway Q to the zoo interchange, about 13 minutes. And 43 northbound from the Marquette interchange to Brown Deer Road, running about 10 this afternoon.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Veterans benefits denied? Call Tayback for the payback.
Call Tayback for the payback. Tayback Law is the local veterans benefit claims law firm. They're now accepting Camp Lejeune claims. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, partly cloudy today, maybe a shower or two inland. Highs ranging from 82 to 90. Partly cloudy tonight with a low 62. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs 80 lakeside to 86 inland. Sunday and Monday, partly cloudy skies with a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm. Highs 75 to 84 on Sunday. Monday's high 75. Then Tuesday, partly cloudy, breezy with a high of 70. Right now in Appleton, we're at 86 degrees and 74 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:32.
I'm Jeff Wagner. It's that time of the week. We've made it. Pop Culture Corner, right around the corner.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
When you see our selection of gently worn brand name girls and women's clothing, you'll love what you find, and you'll love the prices. So low that you won't believe your eyes. At St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, you'll find something cute, maybe a whole new outfit for so much less. Gently worn brand name clothing at far below retail. You're gonna love it. On Highway 100 at Layton and Greenfield, and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
Jump into summer fun when the Brewers battle the Oakland Athletics. Friday, June 9th through Sunday the 11th. Get half-price tickets for any seat with the 5-county Friday offer at the series opener. And rep MKE all summer long with the City Connect Brewers flag giveaway at the game on Saturday the 10th. Grab your seats now at brewers.com/promotions.
The year is almost half over and you are still dealing with that knee or hip pain, right? Enough is enough. Pills are not the answer and neither is surgery. You need to call QC Kinetics. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. The advanced regenerative medicine solutions at QC Kinetics can give you a life without chronic joint pain. You can do all those summer activities you used to enjoy. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking healing properties from your own body and applying them right to your achy joint so your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. The treatment is revolutionary, and it's right here in Milwaukee. Patients across America are having life-changing results, and there's no drugs or surgery or downtime. If you have pain in your knees, back, shoulders, hips, you got to stop what you're doing and call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can give you your life back. Call 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474.
Gather round all. It's time for Wagner's Pop Culture Corner. Time to put aside the heavy lifting and have a good time at the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now, here's Jeff Wagner.
And Pop Culture Corner every week is brought to you by our friends at Palermo's Pizza. Great Wisconsin-based company. One caller, and we were at some point in time we might expand the text, but right now it's callers in the exclusive discretion of my producer Charlie wins our Palermo's Pizza prize package, which is a coupon good for a couple frozen pizzas. And if you are live streaming us, this very, very coveted Palermo's Pizza cutter that I'm holding in my hand that I don't even get a copy of. I just get to use one occasionally as we keep this one at the office and for display purposes and a bunch of other stuff as well. So that's exclusively in the discretion of my producer, Charlie. Okay, if you are new to this program, what we do at the end of the week, and I've been doing this in one variation or another since I started this program on WTMJ 25 years ago, is we just kind of take a deep breath. I understand there's lots of significant and challenging stuff that's going on in the world, and we talk about that a lot. But we do this segment to have a little bit of fun, and I am a creature of pop culture, and sometimes we talk about movies and sometimes music, and I'm working up one on books. I'm trying to figure out a way to do a book one. Sometimes it's travel, sometimes it's food. Typically, it's something that happened during the week that triggers something for me that I think is interesting, and hopefully you will find it interesting as well. So what happened this week? Ted Lasso, which was a very, very, I don't know if I want to say groundbreaking, but it was an interesting show that many of you have perhaps not seen because it's on Apple TV. If you don't have the Apple TV streaming service, you have not seen Ted Lasso. But it's 3 years, and they just had what they believe is the series finale. There might be spin-offs and stuff, but it was designed as we're going to run this for 3 seasons. They ran it, and the final episode aired earlier this week. Now, I said this earlier. The first season of Ted Lasso I thought was great. The second season I thought was okay. The third season I thought, well, I'm glad they're only going to have 3 seasons. I mean, I think, and I've made this argument a lot about TV shows, whether they're on streaming services or whether they're over the air. I think a lot of times these TV shows go on too long and they end up recycling plots and things like that. And so I've always liked this idea where you have these creators who say, look, we don't care how much money is involved here. We have a window. We have a story we want to tell. We think we need to tell the story in 3 seasons or 5 seasons or whatever it is. And then regardless of whether or not we could continue, we're done with this story, so we're going to wrap it up. We're not going to just kind of hang around simply because we might be able to hang around. We want to go out on top. So anyhow, while I think the 3rd season of Ted Lasso, in my opinion, was nowhere as near as good as the first 2, particularly the first one, I will say this without going into any detail at all because maybe there's a lot of people who haven't seen it. I think they stuck the landing. I think the wrap-up episode, if it is the series finale, and I believe it's going to be, I think they nailed it. It was the gymnast, and they're going off the high bar or whatever, and I think they landed it. I would give it, if not a 10, I would give it a 9.9. I think they stuck the landing. I want to talk about other TV shows that stuck the landing. Our number is 855-616-1620, which is the Old National Bank talk and text line. All right, for Pop Culture Corner this week, a TV series that went out where the series finale got it right. There's all sorts of ones we can say they got it wrong. Seinfeld series finale. What's the word I'm looking for? It sucked. It did. I would argue The Sopranos, which was a really good, revolutionary, groundbreaking show that I think stayed way too long. I think if you watch the plots from season 5, you're going to see that they were the same plots, just different people that they had in season 2. And the finale, I think, was awful. But let's talk about a TV series that nailed it. and it could be streaming, it could be over the air. TV series that stuck the landing and got it right. 855-616-1620. Pop Culture Corner, once again, brought to you by Palermo's Pizza. Back with your calls and texts in just a moment.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Greg Scalzo for Smart Spaces. How can Smart Spaces transform your business?
The technology frustrations we hear about, hands down, ease of use. We take that complexity out of it and keep it down to the bare minimum of what they need and what they use. Our goal is to lend a level of simplicity that any knowledge level can walk into that room and at a glance know exactly how to turn that room on and utilize all of its features.
Let Smart Spaces transform your business today. Visit smartspaceswi.com.
Hey, boaters!
At Kendor Marine, we have everything you could want, think of, or wish for your boat. We're committed to making sure you always have a place to fulfill every boating need that you have. And if you ask around, you'll find out our prices always beat the other guys. This is Dave Dorrell from Kendor Marine. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water. Hey, boaters!
This is Dave Dorrell from Kendor Marine. And hey, boaters love shopping here. How do I know? Well, most times it's because they tell me, Dave, I love shopping here. But other times it's because they tell you. If you need a reason to come here, just check out our online reviews. They tell the whole story. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey, boaters! Cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
Off Mosquito Repellent, a clean feel so you can accessorize without mosquitoes. You can wear classic whites and jeans and know what you're covered with 8 hours of not sticky, fragrance-free protection. S.C. Johnson.
I'm certified financial planner Tony Drake with Drake & Associates. If you're retired or looking to retire soon, have you developed a strategy to minimize or eliminate the taxes when you start pulling money out of your IRA or 401k? If you haven't, then you have a very vulnerable plan because taxes are going up in the future. And if you look at the spending our government does, taxes could rise even more. Find out what's missing in your retirement strategy by requesting a copy of my Retirement Ready Toolkit that's loaded with materials designed to help protect you from taxes. Call or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting TAX to 414-409-9982 to get your free toolkit today.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
It's pop culture time. Now back to take your calls. Here's Jeff Wagner.
Stuck the landing, a gymnastics phrase. TV shows whose finale stuck the landing. They absolutely nailed it. We think of the ones that were kind of like so-so, but there's also great ones as well. 855-616-1620. Let's start with Steve in Fox Point. Hi, Steve. You're on WTMJ.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
For me, it's got to be Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
Walter White going out on his own terms after being in the wind for a little bit with
Right.
My Katie Blue playing in the background is just a perfect ending to a perfect show.
It is. And, that's one where they could have stretched that story out for another couple seasons. It was popular. They were making money. But they said, okay, this is the story that we're going to tell, and it's going to take us X number of episodes to do it, and boom, we're done, and we're going to end on a high point, at least, a high point by meaning, at least as far as the storytelling and stuff. No, I think it was a great one. Yeah, thanks for
definitely a masterpiece.
Right, no, thanks for the call. Absolutely, and then you did the sequel, Better Call Saul, which I think. I liked the ending, but I didn't like the last season. I didn't like how they got there. It seemed to me they were just kind of killing time for a while. But I mean, I liked the way it ultimately ended. 855-616-1620. Let's talk to, let's see, Jim in Hartford. Jim, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
It's a beautiful day again.
It is. Oh, okay, they stuck the landing. Best TV ending for a TV series.
Okay, it's kind of a toss-up. It's between MASH and Happy Days.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for calling, Jim. I'm trying to remember the Happy Days ending. Happy Days was another TV show that I think went on way too long. MASH, which at the time, the finale of MASH, whenever that ran in 82, 83, whenever that was, and maybe it remains to this day, outside of like Super Bowls, it was the most watched TV show ever because it again, this is before you had streaming and you had much larger audiences. I'm conflicted on the MASH last episode because if you will remember, it was this, couple hour long thing. The first hour had the Alan Alda Hawkeye character going crazy and ending up in a psych ward and then mysteriously being cured. And then the second half of it had the typical goodbyes. I think the second half was outstanding. I thought the first half, not as much so. 855-616-1620. Jeff, I've been binging Succession this week. Succession was, of course, the HBO show that just wrapped up in the last week or so. Number of people love the ending of that. I don't have a position because I only watched the first year of that, and I do intend to watch seasons 2, 3, and 4. So I haven't seen the ending of that, so I don't have that. Number of people are mentioning MASH. Again, I see MASH as two-pronged. I see it as the first half, which I didn't think was very good, and the second half was just absolutely outstanding. Let's talk to John in Manitowoc. John, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Okay, best TV show ending of all time.
I think it's got to be the Bob Newhart show, and I know the Bob Newhart show went from Bob Newhart and then to Newhart, but when they ended the second time and he wakes up in bed with Emily and doesn't know where he is to start with, was just a spot on. They landed it with that one, no doubt.
You never saw it coming, right? No, thanks, sir. Absolutely. And I think when I'm listing my top 2 or 3 endings of all time, that's clearly one. For people who might not be familiar with this, back in the 70s, Bob Newhart had a show. It was the Bob Newhart Show, where he played a psychiatrist in Chicago, and Suzanne Plachette was his wife, Emily. So, all right, that show ends after 6 or 7 years or whatever, and then a couple of years later he comes back, and it's Newhart, where he plays an owner of an inn in like New Hampshire or somewhere on the East Coast and stuff. And so that show runs for several years. The conclusion is the last scene is he's in bed and he wakes up, and the Suzanne Plachette character, his wife Emily from the first series, she's in bed with him, and he's like, gosh, I just had the strangest dream. I owned an inn in Connecticut or New Hampshire, wherever it was, and it just nobody saw it. Nobody saw it coming at all. It was just an absolutely great one. 855-616-1620. Let's talk to Steve in Glendale. Steve, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Which one is yours?
Definitely the last episode, which was in 2 parts, The Fugitive, The Judgment, part 1 and 2, where Richard Kimball was finally cleared of his wife's murder.
He catches the one-armed man.
Exactly. And that particular episode had the highest viewership until the Who Shot JR episode of Dallas.
Right. No, it just tremendous. You're going back a ways, but yes, just absolutely tremendous. Now, here's another one. One of our listeners, Jeff, says, St. Elsewhere. I loved St. Elsewhere. And if the It was set in this kind of Chicago hospital, I'm pretty sure, or no, a Boston hospital. It was kind of like and I thought it was just a great show on all these different levels. That and Hill Street Blues growing up were two of my very, very favorite shows. And it turns out at the end that the whole show is the creation of this like autistic kid. It was weird, but it was fascinating at the same time. Let's talk to Dennis on the South Side. Dennis, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Thanks for taking my call, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
I would have to say, for a variety of reasons, Jag would be the one that sticks out in my mind. I love the ending where they flip the coin and you don't know who wins the bet. Who's going to stay in the military and who's going to drop out so they could be married. But what was really fascinating to me about that whole thing is how it spawned other programs, how out of JAG came NCIS,
right.
And out of NCIS came NCIS New Orleans and Los Angeles. But
right.
what was even funnier to me was how the characters of JAG played their roles in a number of those spinoffs,
right,
in
right.
different episodes.
Yeah, they never went away. Yeah, Dennis, obviously you have touched a nerve with my producer. You are the winner of our Palermo's Pizza prize package for the day, including the coveted Palermo's Pizza cutter. So thanks for participating. I appreciate it.
On behalf of the callers, I wish to take this from you gratefully.
Thank you. Well, like I say, I can't get one of these. I've been hinting at this for a couple of years now, and still I'm not getting one. The only way I can get it is to call in and convince Charlie to take my call, and hopefully he'll like it. A lot of different great. It was 6 Feet Under, which was an HBO show. Yeah, that was a very, very good ending. Family Ties. Yep, that was a good one. Cheers. Yeah, the problem with Cheers is I think it just stayed around too long. I'd kind of lost interest in that. I will tell you this. One of the ones that's my all-time favorite, and I'm not sure how many people have seen it, but The Shield, which was it was on one of the, I think it was on FX, and it's a tough watch because it's about these crooked cops and stuff, but without giving anything away. If you haven't seen The Shield, I think it's a perfect ending where people end up kind of getting their just desserts. Jeff, for me, it was the X-Files. The ending was one that nobody could have seen coming. Yeah, I think that was good. A couple people are mentioning the Mary Tyler Moore Show. The HBO or Max is what they're calling it now, if you stream it, is running a thing on Mary Tyler Moore. And it is true, the ending of the Mary Tyler Moore Show was just absolutely great, where everybody but the Ted Baxter character, played by Ted Knight, everybody gets fired and they all kind of like walk out together singing "It's a Long Way to Tipperary." Very, very good. Number of people remember St. Elsewhere. I cried during the St. Elsewhere one. I get it. Yeah, I think a lot of people did. Number of people are mentioning the Friends episode. I wasn't a fan of Friends, so I'm sure I've seen it, but I'm not, it's just kind of not registering on that. A lot of people mentioning Bob Newhart as well. Bottom line is, okay, somebody says MASH really stuck the landing. Yeah, I think that's it. Home Improvement. Yep. Home Improvement's definitely one. A lot of people with MASH. Queen's Gambit was awesome. A lot of people haven't seen that, but it's well worth seeing. That's the thing. It's just, and I will tell you this, one of the other ones that I would put up there is the FX show Justified, which ran for 6 seasons, and they ended it just like Breaking Bad. They ended it at the right time. They're bringing back Justified in July. It's a limited run series, the same character, but 15 years later in a different kind of setting. And candidly, I can't wait. I think it's going to be really, really good. NYPD Blue, yes, that would definitely be one as well. And bottom line is, it's tough to get a TV show on the air. It's tough to tell the story. Breaking Bad, I think, like our first caller said, was absolutely outstanding. But to me, The Shield would be great, and also Newhart. Great, great ending. However the show's ended, hope you enjoy your favorite series. Let's take a quick break. John McCure has a 30-minute show today because there's an early baseball game, an odd time because of the Zach Brown concert. We'll find out all the stuff that John is going to cram into 30 minutes of outstanding radio in just a moment.
Thanks for participating in this week's Pop Culture Corner. Stay tuned next week for another Pop Culture